Wow. Welcome. Hello. Yaki. Mikan. Why here? Hi, Mikan. Hi, Yaki. Good afternoon from here. Good afternoon. Good after. Yaki, is it your day off? Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Yeah, good afternoon. What about the tail? Looks like licorice candy. Ha! Joke's on you. I forgot to put on my tail. I forgot to put on my tail. Is my mic on? Yeah, my mic is on. Actually, I have nothing to talk about. Before playing the game, last time we streamed was like a couple of days ago. I hope you're doing well, guys, by the way. Thank you for being here. What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, last time we played Honkai Star Rail, the long-awaited Fate collab. It was good. It was funny. I just really hated the fact that a bulk of it was a silent, quote unquote, silent film. Now I was like, this caught me off guard. I cannot be voicing everyone's voices right now. If I wanted to play a story game where I have to voice it, I would do it. I need to be prepared for it. My voice. Hi, Celphy, you're looking delicious tonight. No, you literally have the meal tag on your Discord name. Silent film cause no budget. That's what I think as well. That's what I think. You know, it was pretty funny. It was pretty good. It was nice to see my favorite boy characters in there adventuring Hill. Even that annoying NPC Scott, but I really have a strong feeling that they did the silent film thingy because they had no budget. And it's a bit of a letdown if I do say so myself, because they announced that collab a year ago. They had a whole freaking year to prepare for it, and yeah, I wish maybe they just set our expectations too high. Because I'm 4 years, and then you know they have that thingy. No, don't eat. I got too salty today fighting boss. Extra salt is extra taste. That is delicious. Actually like my food extra salty. To be honest, the reason why I'm such a bad cook is that even if I have a recipe, I tend to add extra salt. Hey, yummy, get in my tummy. Yucky yucky. Oh, um, I wanna show you guys a little something, some doggy pictures. Where are they? Where's the other one? Did I not save the other one? Oh, it's still big. I'm big. I'm strong. I'm beautiful. Look at Bea. Bea is almost 4 months now. She's getting a little bit bigger. I was just surprised to find her underneath the trash can. I'm sorry if that's kind of gross. Chorizo! Chorizo! My wow! 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 I'm sorry for your ears. That's my wow right there. Thank you for the chorizo. Thank you. Hello, thank you. Happy Sunday. Hi. Thank you. How are you doing? I missed you. How are you doing? Thank you. Anna. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. It's Anna. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. Hi, thank you. Hi, my wow Yuffie. I miss you so much. Anna. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. It's Anna. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. Lucy! Thank you for the Guanchana. Let me shout out some people. First off, we have the awesome, the delicious, the pro gamer, Devil Yaki. Check him out if you haven't yet. And then there's my wow, my beloved Euphonia, all the my belovedists, wows. We played. Thank you for the glasses, wow. We played Lethal Company, a few games last night. It was fun. I was always the laziest worker, but it was fun. As long as I stick to Yuffie, my wow, I will be fine. I will be fine. Oh, what else? Cause she's like so gorgeous, always taking control, and she's so fun to play with. I forgot. Did I forget to post going live? Did I? Draft. I did. Sorry, let me just check. I mean, I look so smart with my glasses. I did post. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Rat, hello. Hi, Rat. How are you doing? We were just messaging not too long ago. Hello, Rat. I hope your Sunday. Is it the Sunday for you, right? I hope your Sunday has been doing well. Lucy, maganda. Yes, I am maganda. I'm big, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm maganda, I am the best. Hello, Lucy. Foggy Lucy. Oh, shout out. Shout out to Luciel. Luciel. Luciel Aldebaro, very based, very talented. Lucy. No! Luciel. Sorry, I said no because it said my shout out. My shout out was on a cool down. Cool down. Hi, I'm a bit stressed because I was working on a project and something went wrong. Needs some more fixing, but it's okay. We'll manage. You got this. You can do this. You can do this. If you're still working on it right now, keep me in the background. My voice will help you fix the problem. No, just kidding. Good luck with your project. I know you can do this. You know, I know the feeling. I know the feeling of like being able to rest until you fix whatever you have to fix with your project. Waku! Hello, Waku! Okay, we have shouted. How you doing, Waku? Dog. Yeah, Dog is here. I'm showing them the picture of the being a trash dweller. I'm so proud of her. I don't know why she likes resting there, sleeping there. Tejas, hello. Tejas, thank you for the shout out. You're welcome. No worries. You deserve the shout outs. Is there anyone else we need to shout out? Ooh. Rat and I are doing a collab soon. When is that? It'll be a surprise. Shout out. Ratsune Squeaku. They will not speak to you until they are spoken to. Did I spell it right? Ratsune Squeaku. Assigned to spend more on 3B6. No! You wanna get more eidolons for, what's her name? Chess girl? Serida, right? Can I take Bella with me? Of course you can. You can take her for a day. Make sure you feed her well. It is, I am not liable for any injury you may sustain or if she drains your money for food. She's very naughty. She's very hungry. Yeah, check out Rat. Collab soon. Trademark. Glad she isn't a DPS. Funny chess girl. Is that headband for me? That headband's for me. Thank you. Go check out Rat. Long time friend of mine, and we're gonna play something soon. Something. Do I have any other pictures of the dogs? I think I do. The one of them, my mama recently bought a trailer. No, not a trailer. What was I gonna say? A stroller, a pet stroller, and we were able to fit all 3 dogs in there. Thank you for the headset. Arigato. Wait, Rats, you like my love now. Yeah, you wanted us to sing, right? You wanted us to sing. We'll get there, but not in the first collab, cause you know, we're gonna be shy or make Rats a mistake. No! You focus on Tiger. Tiger is here in chat somewhere. We feast on Tiger, not on Rat. I can't wait because I have such a good title idea for one of the ideas. Yeah, really, let me know. Let me know. Wako, did I ask you? Your tribute is E1 now, right? E1. I would love to collaborate now, but I'm unable. Yeah, because you're fixing something in your project, right? Good luck with it. I am touched that you're able to visit even though you're busy. E1, congrats on your E1 tribute, Mawaku. Oh, I forgot that you're my moderator. My mod, guys. The why Waku doesn't stream on Twitch anymore. Should I DM you the idea or should I share with the masses? DM. It must be a surprise. Oi, Celphy, what the time are we making the devilyaaki steak? Right now is a good time. Any time. Every minute, every second is yaki steak o'clock. Okay, that is one comfy dog. I know, right, Megan? She is turning 4 months on the 16th. We have the same birthday. Wako, did I mention you? Did I mention to you that Bea, and I have the same birthday? I feast on yaki. Enjoy your piece of yaki. You deserve it. Have good nom noms. Oh yeah, the stroller picture. Wait, I downloaded it. Why is it not showing up in my files? Download. Why? Did it zip it? God damn it. Downloads. Feast on yakiniku. Exactly. Oh, thank you. I meant to tell you this. But I forgot. There's this Netflix thing. It's called Netflix to Doom, where they showcase it's like it's an event that they aired on Netflix where they showcase like their hottest actors, stars, and shows, and they like give you a preview of their upcoming shows for the year. And the WWE stars were there, and mommy was there. Rhea Ripley was there. She's so hot, and I just kind of remembered you, Rhea Ripley. They were kind of funny. I thought they would be. They were, yeah, Rhea Ripley. They were intimidating, but they were cool. Netflix to Doom. So into Doom, there's like the upcoming Wednesday. If you guys know Wednesday, the show. Hyped for that. One Piece live action. I'm hyped for that. I don't know if you guys know this. There's this Japanese show called Alice in Borderland in September 25. Thank you for the hydrate, Tejas. Wait, guys, I'm sorry. I'm just looking for the stroller picture of the dogs. Going to all have blood pressure from all my soul. I'm fine with that. I'm used to it. My blood pressure may be high. That's it. Can't wait for CGI Chopper. It was cute. Did you see it? Didn't you? They showed us a preview of CGI Chopper, voiced by an actress, or I think a really pretty actress, and he was so cute. He was so awkward. I mean, I didn't watch One Piece, but I absolutely love the live action. Thank you again for the hydrate. We will dry age it to remove also, no worries. That's so fancy, dry aged yaki steak. I've never had any dry aged steak before. He's adorable, yeah. I'm very excited for Wednesday as well as One Piece. I can't find it.
I love you too! I love you too!
Karma _ the Trickster Fox just raided with 2 viewers.
Karma, hello. It's been a while. Thank you so much for the raid. Let me shout you out. It's a Foxo raid. Go check out Karma. Hello. Welcome raiders. Hi, I'm Celphy. I just started stream. I will be doing Wuthering Waves, septimont in a while if you guys are familiar with that. But guys, do check out Karma, the Trickster Fox. Welcome everyone. It has been a while. Yes, it has been a while. Wait, Trickster Fox. Karma _ the Trickster Fox. What were you playing? Dead by Daylight? How was DVD? Wow, Raiders! Yeah, hello, Raiders! Welcome. Karma and Raiders, if you need to go rest and chill or whatever, it's fine. You're also free to lurk and join the chat if you want to. What's my voice done? Yeah, join us tonight. One of our friends is a tiger, and we are gonna be having tiger steak. It's an inside joke. I'm sorry. The picture of the dogs in the stroller. Where is it? I'm sorry. I should have prepared it. Before stream. It downloaded as a zip because it was a live picture. Freak. That's what happens in Dead by Daylight. There you go. Wait, wait. Alright, hello raiders. Yeah. Tried to play Survivor but ended up dying before I could leave. Is that a new mode or a difficult mode in DBD? I've never played DBD, but I do think I have DBD on my Steam library. I got it on sale, I think. Got it on sale. Sable! Hello! Welcome, and thank you for the first time chat. I hope you're doing well. These are my dogs. These are my dogs. So the big one, he looks really tall because he's like standing up. That's Bambino, the big one. And the one behind him, the the very cute, the one that's a little chunky, that's Bonita. So the big one is Bambino, he's 13. The one behind him is Bonita, she's 8. And the tiny one in the front, the white thing in there is Bea. She's only 4 months old. I'm sleepy, but I can't sleep yet. Rad! You should go sleepy. Maybe you can fix your project when you're well rested. Sleepy but can sleepy. That's a rat thing. So bonita. Yeah, so bonita. I mean, I can sleep yet. Yeah. Rats fixing a project. What project? We don't know. We cannot know. Yes, big Bambino. I'm gonna kiss them all in the head. You're very much welcome to do so. You can hug them all at the same time. The thing is though, don't tell them, but my favorite is Bonita, the one in the back. The one in the back. She recently got her something. Her reproductive system was removed because she got sick. She got sick, and one of the side effects of having their um reproductive system removed was laziness, and they eat a lot, so she's been gaining a lot of weight. So we're trying to put her on a diet. Show beans for you, Yaki. I will try to remember taking a picture of their beans. Later. I don't have it. I don't I don't have their beans right now. They're downstairs. In fact, in like a few seconds ago, I don't know if you guys heard it, Bea was barking. Yeah, these are the dogs, my beloved dogs. When I die, I want my heaven. I want to see them in heaven. I don't know how to articulate it. My heaven is these 3 dogs. So when I die, I want to see them. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay awake. Might change in my mind in a bit, but I wanna get things done if I can. You know what's gonna knock you out? Some nuggies or fries. Just kidding. I don't know how urgent your project is, but good luck. And remember to rest, okay, rat? Share your tiger beans level before Yaki has shown the beans. Did you not see the emote? I hate coffee, sadly. Damn! A coffee hater. I know few people who hate coffee, which is understandable. Like, when I ask them, how do you keep yourself awake and energetic without the coffee? And they're like, sheer will. And I'm like, no, I will die. I will probably be asleep all day if I do not have coffee. Asleep or like, just a lazy bum. Sometimes I wish humans have beanies instead of the grippers. What are the logistics of that? What are some things that we can do better or worse if humans had beanies? Pause. Put your paws up. Meth? If you're not a coffee drinker, you survive with meth. Very based. It would look way cuter. I know. That's a good girl. Thank you for the question. I'm sorry. I know I'm cringe for it. No, absolutely not. In fact, you have more willpower and mental fortitude than us plebeians, commoners who love coffee. Don't get energy drink might mess up your stomach. Energy drinks? I'm a fan of them, but you must not drink them every day because yes, they will mess up your stomach. Once in a while, when you're like in a crunch, really, and if you can if you have the guts to drink energy drink. I am joking, guys. Please don't. For legal reasons, we do not advertise. We do not condone the usage of illegal substances in stream. As per my lawyer, we cannot be promoting that. Wink, wink. Not just kidding. Drugs are bad. Yes, drugs are bad. Drugs are bad. You talking about the medicine ones? Are there? Yeah. Prescription drugs are fine. Illegal substances are not. Don't do drugs, kids. Do not ruin your life. No. Despite the euphoric advantages of it, it's gonna make you feel good for a while, but after that you're gonna be old and ugly and you're gonna lose more brain cells, and we don't want that. We don't want that. It's gonna make you lose some. You're gonna cut your lifespan short as well if you do drugs, so don't do that. So remember, it may make you happy for a bit, but you're gonna become ugly and old and stinky and you're gonna die early. I might grab one for tomorrow though. Energy drink, that's fine. Grab a monster, grab a monster. Yes, for legal reasons. For legal reasons. We do not promote drug usage. Illegal drug usage. I have that once in a while. That's good, that's good. I used to love Monster, but I can't afford it anymore. For the Filipinos out there, Monster is a bit of an expensive, what do you call this? Energy drink, right? We have Cobra, we have Extra Juice. It's less than $1, but it works just fine. Euphoric, euphonia, euphoric, euphoria. That just reminds me. Last night I finished the show as well. I was watching Silicon Valley in HBO Max. When I finished it, I watched half of, what was it? Anora. Do you guys know the movie Anora? They were doing drugs. Pimiento. Yeah, people who drink it every day. Ain't good. There are people who are like so addicted to it. I even heard like a long time ago somebody who was doing office work and they were drinking so much energy drink and they just died. So don't drink too much. If you want to drink it once in a while, just drink one bottle. That's fine. I'm not a drug fan, so it's okay. Yeah, we hate drugs. Legal lords, do you hear that? We hate drugs. Monster is so expensive. I know, right? It's like almost $2. $2 for a bottle of Monster. 1.5. Yeah, around $1.5. Is it good? It tastes. Mikan, for me, Monster tastes better than our cheaper options. But if your sole purpose of drinking an energy drink is to get energized and you want to save some bucks, go for the cheaper ones. Pimiento. Oh, Rosa's ex. Is that his name? Wait, is that his name? The crazy guy? The masochistic, crazy, ultra-violent guy? I love him. I love everyone in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Wait, Mikan. If you were a character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, who would you be? I would be the... I forgot his name. The best friend. The one they always make fun of. That's me. Right, my favorite energy drink is this one flavor of Monster. It's called Pipeline Punch. It's so good, but so bad for me. That's the thing with the yummy things. They're delicious, but they can be bad for you. It's fine. You can have one tomorrow. Just one. And then after that, no more energy drink for a while. Drug-free life. Yeah, we stay clean. We stay strong. Or whatever the song of The Rock is. Yeah, don't drink too much. Or else you will palpitate. We don't want a palpitating rat in here. Gatorade is cheaper. Gatorade is good for sports. Does it give you energy though? I'm not sure. Does it give you energy? Gatorade? I know it replenishes your lost liquids when you're like doing sports. Yeah, pimiento. I vibe with pimiento. Straight edge. Wait, did you answer my question, Mika? Who are you in Brooklyn Nine-Nine? If I have it, I might just run off of Whimsy. The monster drink? Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If you guys are like tired of gaming and you wanna watch a chill sitcom, go watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's a Netflix, I think. Yeah, it's a Netflix if you have Netflix. Or you can just, go the high seas. Pimiento is your favorite. Let's go, Pimiento is your favorite. Wait! Mikan, what is the name of the character that I relate to? The one that they always bully. That's me. That's me. I forgot Akoma. I mean, if I have it, I might just run off of Whimsy. You're always whimsical even without the energy drink. Boil! Yeah, I'm the boil of the group. I'm the boil of the group. Nasumi! Hello! Yahoy! Yahoy! Yoho! Samiko Saba! Yoho! Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I think we're done yapping. Sorry to cut our yapping session short, but we are now 28 minutes into the stream and we must game, for that is what is promised. Not running on caffeine, I run on Whimsy. I wish I could run on Whimsy. When I don't have caffeine, I'm just, zero energy. GI repo. GI repo. What does GI repo mean? Oh, time for some repo dog moments for me. Patience, you're gonna play repo? I believe you can play it solo if you just like wanna be good at it. Be good at it. Go. Yap with game as BG noises. Let's go. Yes. Yes. I can yap. I can yap. I can fly. GI isn't good luck. I need to burp. Sorry. Me. Mommy, puppy, why are you still up? Are you still playing games? Yeah, good luck with Repo. Have fun. Why need good luck in Repo? It's all about this silly and dumbness. You still need a bit of luck with it, in running away from the monsters, meeting your company's quota. This probably won't be the first collab at some point. It would be awesome. Yeah! In my bio in WuWa, I'm just your friendly neighborhood gambler. Friendly neighborhood gambler? Gambling is fun, especially if you have money. But if you're broke like me, we're just semi-gamblers. Living off of free currency. Thank you, Kuro. Thank you, Hoyoverse, for making a free game and giving us some free currency. I am poor. I Go Meow is a famous TikTok cat. I don't know if you've seen them or heard them, but I love them. Rest in peace, the original I Go Meow cat. They actually died. Add me on WuWa. Are you on Asia server though, papi? Papacito. Papicito? Papacito. Are you on Asia? Yeah, I'm Asia. Not Southeast Asia. Asia. I had a bit of a confusion before with Scorpy because I wanted to add them, but apparently they're in Southeast Asia and I'm in Asia. Yaki! Yaki. We have a fox girl. Yaki. Would you like to play WuWa? Enough chatting. Time to game. Does she look like a fox girl? I think she is a fox girl. Is she a fox girl, Tejas? I don't know what animal. Yeah, I don't know what animal she reminds you of. I think she has fox ears when she do the ultimate. How do I do the character demo America? Then neither me or Celphy can add you. Oh, you're on America. Sadly, we cannot be friends. I'm sorry. Please get out. No, just kidding. I'm in Asia. There's a thing with gacha games. They have a server lock. You cannot play with your friends like around the world if they're not in your region. Papacito. Wait, how do I show the demo of Lupa? It's supposed to be somewhere in here. Let's check it out one by one. Not this one. Not this one. Not this one. Wait, what's that? We get new wings? We get no wins. I can't do it yet because I haven't done the main story yet, which is what we're gonna do in this stream. 90-second ad break. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go sing Despacito. Alexa, play Despacito. Mamacita. Mamacita. Games being served with region lock is so sad. It is. It is. I heard though that League is not region lock. Valorant is not region lock. Do you guys see this? My friend Coney piloted my account and they cleared the septimont. And I got 300 astrites from that. Very pog, very amazing. Shori! Sunday may errands ka! Have fun. Thank you, Shori. Guys, check out Shori, okay? Shori is busy on a Sunday. Shori is the cutest. They were playing Warframe. See, I told you, pro gamer. Cute na, gamer pa. San ka pa? Celphy, do you have Brand and Changli? I don't have Changli. I have Brand. I'm slightly tempted to play. No, not play. For Lupa, because she's apparently good for Brand. Wait, where is the trial of the Lupa? Oh, I already did this. See, 6,000 points. Let's try out Lupa. Lupa. It was so funny to me at first, her name Lupa, because in our country, in Filipino language, Lupa means soil. Soil. If you have Brandon, you should absolutely get Lupa. That's what I've been seeing. That Lupa is a great DPS for Brand. I'm half awake. Go sleep! Happy, go sleep.
You cold warrior?
It's fine if you go sleep. You cold warrior. Are you cold warrior? People have a lot of issue with her armor because her armor is not armoring like a normal armor. Do you see that bounce on her chest area? Her armor is not armoring, but I think she looks gorgeous. Is she a fox? I think she's a fox. Look at her tail. Make me. They want me to sing you a lullaby? Lullaby.
Same actor, different role. Let the flames rise!
Together we won't.
Listen
Wait.
carefully.
Beckon the divine
Pages,
flame.
in this team, does this mean Changli is the sub DPS and Lupa is the DPS? Yaki, look, Fox girl with cute tails.
To victory!
Let's go. She's so hot. She's so cool. And so hot. And so strong. See how she one-hit that? I don't know if that was one hit, but that was really quick. That's how strong she is. Yaki, come to Wuthering Waves. Look at her. Twin tails. Red, pink hair. Armor that jiggles. What more could you ask for? Huh? I sleep now. What a wonderful lullaby. I'm sorry. Good night, Puppy, if you are sleeping.
Me at my most evil.
Do your
Do you even laugh me?
Only Shadows just followed.
The laugh and the chorizo is kinda cute and funny. Only Shadows. Hello. Hello. Thank you for the first time chat. And thank you for the follow. Welcome. I hope you're having a nice... is it Saturday? It's Sunday, right? A nice little Sunday. Looks like Celphy. Does it look like me? I'm flattered. Does it? Not really, right? Green. Oh, I see it. The green eyes and Brady. Probably, maybe the bangs. Same for you. Hope you have a wonderful day. Yeah, my day is wonderful because it's a Sunday. My family's here. The dogs are here, and I can stream Wuthering Waves. I hope it's fine so far on stream. Pull for Lupa Celphy. Tejas. I will pull for Lupa if Yaki will try ZZZ. If Yaki tries ZZZ, it's special. I just realized it's raining. No energy drink for tomorrow. Then I'll just lock in. Let's go. Rat, you're gonna run on Whimsy. But wait, how come you cannot get energy drink? Is it because you don't want to go outside if it's raining? Hot pink-haired Celphy? This one? Thank you. It will be so awesome if I look like that. She's fierce. She's a warrior. Pink hair is so awesome. I kind of wish I had pink hair, but I don't want to dye it. There are like some safe pink hair dyes, right? But I don't know how to get them or what brand they are. Like they're safer for your hair because they fade quite soon. They're not like super permanent. Gender fluid. Yeah, Rat is gender fluid. Gender fluid. I don't want to walk to this in the rain. Understandable, and I would assume that, and she even pole dances. No, not the pole dancing, but you know, she does the pole thing. I'm in love with a stripper. I'm whatever I wish to be, and that's the cool thing about it when you're gender fluid. Am I a boy, a girl, or an egg? It depends on my mood. Oh, Mamacita. Mamacita, you have ZZZ. Oh, Warden, I don't have ZZZ. I tried playing ZZZ, but I have no time or storage for it. Leave this domain, yeah. Devil said yes for ZZZ. No, it has to be WuWa. Did I say ZZZ? If Yaki plays WuWa, tries to play WuWa, I will pull for Lupa. I have 33,000 gems. That's good for 200 polls. Definitely didn't have poll installed in her room. Definitely, maybe not. Yeah, that's Lupa, guys. If you guys are playing WuWa, interested in playing WuWa, this is the star of the banner right now. She's a warrior. She's a fire DPS. She's awesome. Right now, I'm kind of feeling feminine. Feminine Rat. Miko Rat. That's cool. If more cry, I bonk you. Who's crying? Who's crying? Don't cry. Don't cry. No tears. No tears in this chat or you'll get banned. I'm just kidding. The Asian way, bonky, the Asian way. What is the Asian way? Do you do it with the slipper as well? The flip-flops? Yeah, I have not done the main story in a while. I think it's been months. So we're gonna try and do that. There's a new area called Septimont, and as you guys know, Wuthering Waves is made on a newer engine, so they can make like really gorgeous graphics, more realistic than, let's say, Genshin. So we'll see, and it's really good. I've seen screenshots and videos on Twitter and YouTube, and we're gonna see if my computer can handle. Bye, Bummy. Bye, everyone. Good night, puppy. Thank you for dropping by, even though you're supposed to be sleeping right now. I appreciate you being here. Shadows, please stop. You make me want Lupa more. This is your sign, only Shadows, to get a Lupa. I implore you to get a Lupa. You know what? Only Shadows for you. As a first-time viewer.
Yeah.
That was so loud. Sorry and thank you. Thank you for the alert, Papi. May your dreams be beautiful because I am on your phone. Wait. What was I gonna have to do a little something? Shut up, because I cannot see myself. Windowed projector. Always on top. Clarky! Hello, Clarky! Happy Sunday! How you doing? Welcome! Hope your Sunday's going well. Hope your Sunday is all nice and chill. 33k, 52. Who you want? I don't want anyone right now. Did you wait, only Shadows, did you see the lineup of characters that are coming? Of course, out of that, there's 6 of them that they teased, right? And Furlova is coming. I kind of want Furlova. The one in the school uniform, I want her too. And of course, the boy, I want the boy. The boy who looks like he's from Huang Long. Augusta. I want Ayuno, the blue-haired moon goddess. I want her as well, cause there's a rumor that she's gonna be good for Gian, the general. So yeah, as I was saying, thank you again for the lurk, puppy. I love you. Have good sleep. Have good sleep. Did I miss any messages? I'm sorry. Okay. Augusta and are your priority. That's good. Augusta. You know what they say? There's also... I'm sorry, I hope you don't mind rumors. The boy that I want to pull out of the 60s characters, they say that he's gonna be good for Augusta. Don't care about Gian, I only could like waifus. We are the opposite. Which is good for you because there's so many waifus in the game, right? It's bad for me because the boys, what's the opposite of waifu? Husbandos are so rare. That's why I have 33k. Yeah. Oh, your wallet is crying. I hope your wallet is deep. Yaki, why you doing that? Do you like Lupa? You spent $70 this month on your waifus. I hope it's worth it. So yeah, as the first time chatter, I'm gonna pull 20 times on Lupa for you. How about that? Just 20 times. Because I'm so rich. In WuWa currency. It's a purple. Oh!
Gotcha, didn't I?
Yo-hoo! Yo-ho-ho! And a bottle of rum. Good luck. I buy Carlotta's skin. Oh, you bought Carlotta's skin. It's very cute. Her summer swimsuit outfit. Cartesia's weapon. How's your Cartesia? I saw people were having a hard time building her at first. But she supposedly, if you build her right, she's very, very strong. Pokey eye. Pokimane. She sounds like Doobie for some reason. Does she? Last 10 pull for only shadows. We get Lupa. Ah, it's still a purple. I have 116 energy regen and 68 crit rate and 279 crit damage at 51,000 HP. I didn't know you could go that high in HP. Congratulations. She sounds strong. Who did we get this time? Oh, I think I already have her.
Another day, another heroic me.
Thanks you. Yeah. I hope you get Lupa if you want Lupa, but I understand if you wanna save for the sun goddess and the moon goddess, Augusta and Yuno. Oh yeah, thank you. You said she sounds like Doobie. Let's play some more of her voice lines.
The experiment begins.
Gotcha,
oh, we got her constellation. Doobie. I forgot what animal Doobie is. Some kind of rat, right? It's kind of rat. Do another 10, surely you get her. Or maybe she might get the furry? I thought you said furt. What furt? We're doing fart stream. Oh wait, her lines. How do we get her to talk some more? Is there a way?
Gotcha, didn't I?
I haven't explored the interface. Tejas, is there a way to play her voice lines? Oh, there you go, voice.
Huh. You're lucky to have come across me, the undisputed master of antique appraisal.
C6. Are you using her? I'm using her. She's fun.
Hand over your goodies and I'll take a look. Don't bother impressing me with your knowledge of antique appraisal, since hardly anyone knows it better than me. What I want in a friend is merely respect for ancient artifacts.
Understandable. So yeah, does she still sound like Doobie?
Here's the secret.
Doobie
Don't
the
go
VTuber.
blabbing to anyone else. If you recite Master Yuhu's poem collection by the city hall, the Sentinel will totally bless you. Well, maybe it won't, but hey, at least I'll totally help you.
Oh, Tutuli. I can't do it. I'm sorry. That was a bad impression. Check Cantarella on gallery. How do you do that? How do you do that? I can hear
The
Bea
experiment
barking.
begins.
These are my characters. I got the free Shang Liao.
I see my way
I
clear.
think a C2? No, C1. C1 Culture.
Gotcha,
Yoho.
didn't I?
I was just, you know, bored. I didn't have anyone else to build, so I built her, and I think she looks really cute. Very cute. My beloved, my husband, Zanny. Press escape and swipe to right. Escape. Gallery. Where's this one? Gallery. Gallery. Is it here?
I shall have
Cantarella?
no one tarnishing victory's honor.
The tides have whispered of your arrival.
Jelly lady. Beautiful Cantarella.
The tides have whispered of your arrival.
There you go. Is there a particular reason why you wanted to see her, or did you just want to see her because she's pretty? I don't have her. I didn't vote for her. Now go to her 3, 1, and wait. This one? Third constellation? Yeah, she did the licky thing in the trailer, cause her tacit mark is on her tongue, right? I also saw like a bit of a lengthy explanation on Twitter why she's so sexy. That it has to be part of her lore or something like that. Yeah, I kinda like her. I used to pilot a Wuthering Waves account of my friend, and he has Cantarella, and I gotta say I enjoy playing her. I did not expect her to be so strong. I thought she was just like a dedicated Havoc support, but she can be a DPS as well, I think. She's strong. She's strong. I didn't pull for her because I already have Camellia and the little girl. What's her name? Rochia. Ooh, Cantarella. Do you like Cantarella? I know you like strong women. Thank you. She looks kinda strong. Despite how big her boobies are, she's very strong. She got big numbers when you use her. She's supposedly a healer, a Havoc healer, but she's stronger. She dishes out big numbers.
Time for replacements.
Story time. Zanny is my main favorite, but she's a close second. Ah, Zanny is the embodiment of a woman boss. You can't call her a girl, she's a woman. That's a woman right here. Let's switch to Zanny team. They're my favorite team. I love playing Zanny team. Zanny, Goddess, Cantarella.
Alright.
Girl
Where
boss.
are we off to next?
Girl boss, woman boss, Zanny, woman, exactly. Did you guys hear that? Are you guys hearing that? The dog, the puppy is barking a lot. Zanny may be mommy, but Shorekeeper is wife. Yeah, Shorekeeper is wife. Shorekeeper professed their love for us at one point, right? Or kinda implied. Yaki! Yaki, come to CCC! More waifus! All kinds of waifus. Cute waifus, boss waifus, sexy waifus, animal waifus, I think. Even the doggo acknowledges Zanny. Bea is marking for Zanny. True. Did you see this hilarious live thing on YouTube? No. No, I have not. I just heard that in July 18, both Wuthering Waves and Genshin Impact is having a live stream showcasing their upcoming content, which is crazy and exciting for me. as a player of both, as a huge fan of both. Bark once for
All right.
Zanny.
Where
Bark!
are we off to
That was
next?
so weak. Bark! There you go. You got a free bark. It's all for you. It's all for Zanny. Meow. Meow. For her, I would kneel. For her, I would jump off a cliff. For her, I would bark and meow and do animal noises. Wait, what is this thing on her chest? Did I forget to unmark it? Yeah, I was trying to catch something there yesterday. Bark bark, woof woof, bark bark. Everybody collectively bark for the one and only Zanny. And, oh, Rat, are you still here? Look, she's having an energy drink. This is your sign that you should get an energy drink as well. It looks like a monster, to be honest. The claw marks on the bottle? On the drink. Yeah. Story time. I don't know if my PC can show it. But Septimont looks very cool. Cheers, Zanny. Yes. Would you like to have a drink with me? And the drink is a monster drink. That's how she flirts with you. Do Cantarella quest. I'll do it some other time. I wanna go to Septimont right now. Please, we'll do it next time, okay? I did hear that Cantarella's quest is one of the best character stories out there. Like on par with, what's my favorite? Encore. Encore is good. Who else has the best like you will get lost? What does exclamation point
I
lost
knew it.
mean?
The Blue Furies remain undefeated.
The blue furries?
Folks always write them off, thinking they're just sailors or singers.
What is
Don't matter in
exclamation
the
point
arena.
lost?
It's all
that
about
a
pure
wait,
strength.
Slang. Sorry. Please play it.
Most of the
Get
teams in
lost.
this year's finals
You
aren't
get
even
lost
backed
in
by
it.
local
Abuba.
nobles.
I
So
do
what?
love some big
Worried about your bets? How many
Abuba.
times do I have to?
badonkers?
Hey,
No, bonkers is crazy. Badonkers.
All right,
Hey.
all right. Oh, look here, a visitor. Welcome to Septimont.
That's a big robot.
Your clothes aren't from around here. You from the New Federation?
The accent threw me off, yeah. Because, you know, in Wuthering Waves, they have British voice actors. Unlike Genshin, who hires primarily American voice actors. No, I'm from Huanglong. Actually, I'm from the Black Shores. From the Edward Boy icon, yeah. We're choosing that.
Ah, making jokes already. I like your style. Anyway, enjoy your stay here, friend.
What were you talking about? What were you talking
We just
about?
watched a live match.
You need to
It's
see
too
the
bad you
JP
missed it.
voices
Let's
as
hear from
well.
the Blue Furies gave the other
I
team a
play
right
in
pounding.
JP Only Shadows, but
Aye,
for stream I choose
Capitolini Hill's
English
holding the Great
so
Aegon
that I
now
can
in the
follow
city.
the story even
Happens
though
every
we
4
have to.
years. All of Septimont's
I
talking
love
about who'll be the
JP.
next
I love
champion.
Japanese voices.
You
Is
here
it
for the games
amazing
too?
how Hoyoverse and Kuro
No,
games can like
I'm
afford
looking for
the
someone.
biggest names in the Japanese
this
voice
time,
acting industry?
That might be tricky.
Yes, we will sound
Folks
so
from
much
all
better
over
in English
Solaris
than
have flooded
JP.
into
Yes,
Septimont
because
lately.
they're not holding back their
Who's it you're
accents
looking for?
anymore. They don't need to
This here is
pretend
the
to have
first stop
American
for ferries heading to
accents.
Capitolini Hill. Maybe we've seen him before.
It sounds Aussie. Sometimes they do sound Aussie, Irish, Scottish, British. I love it. It's so diverse. Who's it you're looking for? We're looking for a Cartevia. We're looking for a Cartwheel. Cartwheel.
Can't say I've seen anyone like that around.
Aussie might.
Most Raganazi we see here are from the Troop of Fools or the Montelli Nobles. They're a bit more open to our ways of thinking about faith. If she's wearing the Order's emblem, though, she'll have drawn some eyes.
Like a bit of a
After
backstory
Carthia and
for
Fleur-de-Lis's frequencies merged, she got her body back. If she passed through here, people would have seen
Yeah.
her.
Just a little bit of a background. I kind of started a little bit of the main story a while ago because I wanted to unlock the region. But just as a background, we are now in 2.0, update 2.0 of Wuthering Waves, right? Which is Rinasita. And Rinasita, we start off with a whole story about this religious like cult. And what happened after that? Now we are in an area that's still in Rinasita, but is less influenced by the religion. So yeah, that's Septimont for you. And I think they have like this big battle arena thingy. Do you like mecha games? Not so much. Honestly, not so much. Why? Yeah, why? Yeah, we got them to fix Abby, right? Yes, Abby is fixed. I wasn't even aware that Abby was broken. Only like last patch, the story before this, did I realize that Abby was weakened. But yeah, we are now in an area that is more less influenced by the religious cult they have going on in the mainland of Rinasita. We are now in Septimont, which is also part of Rinasita, and we're about to meet new characters, and we're also looking for Cartithia. Cartithia is equivalent to Jinsi of Huanglong, right? But yeah, that's it. Yep, and to find Cartithia. Wait, and we got 3 more waifus to our collection. Augusta, Yuno, and who else? Frolova? No, Frolova. Yeah, Frolova?
A half-human, half-flying creature wearing armor and swinging a poleaxe? That's gotta be the Guardian Echo of Septimont. Our Lioness of Glory, Arsenosa.
Yeah, so Augusta, the one who looks like a sun goddess, Yuno, who looks like a moon goddess, and Frolova, an upcoming Havoc DPS. Is she one of the enemies? She's one of the enemies, right? And she's like been teased since 1.0, like a year ago. So she's a very anticipated.
Can you tell me more about this Guardian Echo?
Yaki, are the goddesses tempting you to play Wuthering Waves? Come, Yaki, come.
Oh, gladly. See, ever since our ancestors set foot on this land, we Septimontians have fought the harsh elements and the savage tacit discords. Many brave souls came before us, their reverberations settling in the stone that now stands as Arsenosa. She was born from the battle's roar and the fierce bellows of pride.
As the Guardian of Septimont, Arsenosa usually only reveals herself during the Great Aegon. To earn her blessing is the highest honor any Septimontian could hope for.
But why would Cartithia take on Septimont's Guardian Echo?
Why indeed?
If you want to see her, just wait for the finals. They'll be held in the Colosseum in the city. But don't dawdle. Get a ticket now, or you'll miss out.
As for that order girl you're looking for, you might try asking in the inns around the city.
Clay! Edwin! Come give me a hand!
Clay and Edwin?
Ah, right. We best be off. If you want to see the fights, follow this path to the arena. The ticket booth's just up ahead.
We're headed to the Colosseum and hopefully meet the waifus.
Its frequency is similar to the echoes in Raguna. Could it have originated from Imperator's power as well? But it's unstable, as if something else is interfering. Strange. It's just like Abby said. I can feel its source close to the city, but can't pin down where
it is. Oh, you're having a giggle. What is it? Oh, you're having a giggle. I just know that fag is cigarette.
You're looking so serious.
Do you want a fag? Let me give you a fag. Do you wanna smoke a fag with me? Oh,
and
we got 2 more Chisa and Galbrenna.
Me? I'm a traveling Taoist from Mengzhou. Just call me Buling.
Oh, Buling!
Exorcism, talisman divination, fortune telling. You name it, I bling it. So, you wanna try a luck, Fa?
Bling it on.
How did you know my name?
Heard about you from an old friend. You know Jinshin? Pretty sure you met her in Jinzhou. She trained with the same master before me.
Janshin is one of the standard 5-star characters from the first area, and I have her. Got ads? No, I'm sorry. Why is there so many ads? I keep forgetting. To check out the settings. I'm sorry for the ads, guys. Wait, I know Galbrenna is the gun girl, right? She has like a blue outfit, blue motif. Is Chisa the schoolgirl? School uniform outfit girl. Yeah, I want her. I want Chisa. She looks cool. Galbrenna depends. Once I see her kit and her trailer and her teaser, it might make me want her. The same way that I didn't care about Zanny before, but the moment official WuWa started teasing her and showing her playstyle, I was like, nah, I gotta have that. I want both. Oops, I accidentally fell asleep. This is Ratsune. Ratsune Squeako. Rat. Your body's telling you to sleep. Go sleep. You're gonna be fine, right? I know it's probably urgent and it's probably frustrating that you can't finish, but you gotta rest. You have a bottle of Monster waiting for you tomorrow if it doesn't rain. Yeah, I know. Yeah, only shadows. What was I gonna say? If you believe in your gambler's luck, you can get them all. What server do you play on, by the way? Asia. Just Asia, not Southeast Asia. Asia. Kaya Buling, the blue-haired girl we met earlier, is a friend of Janshin. Janshin is from Huanglong, which is the first area we ever saw. I can do it tomorrow, I'll be okay. Okay, good night, Rat. Talk to you. Probably tomorrow as well. You are on EU. Oh, that's cool. EU. Have a great stream. Thank you so much for being here. I enjoy having you here to chat with. Good night. I hope you have nice dreams. I hope you have good rest.
We've got history. Last time I went up to the mountain to see her, she mentioned you.
Oh, sorry.
So I hear you're looking for someone? Not so easy. The feng shui in Renacita is not good. The tea is trapped underwater. Not good flow. No luck now. Bad sign. You should be careful, boss. You show up and the stars change. I was betting on who could break the deadlock, so I'm glad I caught you first.
I followed like 10 people and they're all on Southeast Asia. Remember the glasses of Wuling? Is that gonna be a key later on? Okay. I remember. I will try to remember the key. Wuling. Wuling sounds familiar. Is it like a sort of Chinese food? Kinda like that. Okay. Optional. Ask the Septimonians about their opinions on the Sentinel. Optional. Ask Septimonians about their opinions on the Lioness of Glory. I don't wanna. Let me go to the actual thing that I have to do. Bye, girls and boys. I have my PC settings, my graphics settings on low, so I don't know if you guys can see how beautiful the surroundings are. Apparently, Apparently, the grass moves when your character moves or something like that. Let's replace her with Janshin. You have to. I don't want to talk to the optional Septimonians. I already know about their lion echo. Lion, where's the Janshin? There you are.
What will I learn from this fight?
Deploying. Come on, laptop, you got this. It's not showing. Maybe I have my graphics settings too low. But I've seen that on Twitter. If you do her wind thingies, the grass moves with it as well. I'm sorry. Yaki! I'm screaming over here and you're plotting, thinking about eating me. No. Remember to keep your extra salt with you. Do not take a bath yet, or you will be staked the night salty. It's Lupa.
Not bad!
Looking. I am looking as well. I'm locked in. Sniff. Nilagang Yaki.
Think you can keep me from fighting?
Speaking of, we have sinigang.
Now. We'll see who rips whose throat out first.
Rough me up, girl. Is it lagging? I'm sorry. Is it? Damn. Who said I was thinking that? You implied it with the emojis. With the emote.
Emilia.
You naughty
Why don't
tiger.
you take your
Oh, it's
band
fine.
of cowards
Naughty
and get out
tiger
of
is
my
more
way
delicious.
before
Not
I
lagging,
decide
see.
to handle it
Very good.
myself? Pulling dirty tricks before the Aegon. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Did you ever stop to think you nearly got an innocent person killed?
Thank you, Mikan. Yes, W
Shame on you.
cameraman indeed. Thank you, cameraman.
Looper. So you're really not going to reconsider? Even with the finals just around the corner?
Reconsider. You think I should keep playing along and stay blind to your match fixing? I don't care what you do off the field,
Yeah,
but in the
go
arena,
me.
fairness isn't negotiable. If you can't get that, just keep wagging
Sorry.
the tail for the house.
You really did a good job of like clearing the whole septimont area without like accidentally what do you call it, triggering the main story. Thank you so much. I was looking forward to it, and thank you for clearing the whole thing. I got the gems as well. Thank you. Arigato. Yeah, Coney was the one who piloted my account for, was it a month? Yeah, it was quite a long time. Thank you, Coney. Yes, yell his out. Huh? Yell his ass out of building. Yeah, 10-2. Ano reward? Tumawa na lang. What do you want? What do you want as a reward, Coney? You want me to pilot your account in exchange? I'm kind of more free now. I'm only doing one subject. It's a hard subject, but it's more manageable than statistics. Feast your eyes on Lupa, aka me. Nah, just kidding. Wait. What's happening right now? So I think this is our first time in the main story encountering Lupa. We can already see how fierce she is. Di ko alam. Yeah, the cameraman did a good job. I love the angles. Free horn picks. Okay, I will consider the free horn picks. The pics are for staring at, for looking at, not for eating, okay?
You know,
it is
I
not an
once thought you
invitation
were
for
a
eating the
decent
horns.
gladiator, and we fought well together. But look at you now. Pathetic.
Horn. Would make a nice live wallpaper. This angle? Any angle from WuWa looks like a wallpaper. Because they have such like really very detailed graphics.
You know nothing, Lupa.
Oh, I forgot to turn on the
Not everyone
auto
has the
play.
same strength to survive in Septimont with a clean conscience.
Wrong star. You ready? I have to fight? No. I want to.
Sorry
I don't
about that
wanna do
clown
no
show.
fights.
Don't
Yes,
judge
hey, don't
Septimont by a
browse
few
wallpaper
rats that can't
engine
hold their
page.
own in the dirt. They're not the norm here.
Is that based on experience, or is that what your
Lupa's
friend
the name.
told you?
Gladiator by
Lesson.
trade. Guess we're acquainted now after crossing blades.
It is risky
Care
business.
to tell me your name?
Risky just as risky as browsing a VTuber Twitter in public. Am I gonna get cute VTuber memes, or am I gonna get accidental uncensored VTuber booba? Who knows? Hanya, hello Hanya, beautiful Hanya, welcome to stream. Hello, guys, check out Hanya. Happy Sunday, Hanya. I hope you don't have work today. I hope you're chilling and vibing, and I hope you have good food. Sakura, Hana, Sakura. I don't have just chilling. That's good. Hanya is a hardworking office lady. That's why you should go check her out. Very beautiful girl, very beautiful voice, who loves horror games. Yeah, Shadow. That is the Hanya. How's the game, Celphy? Good so far. Good so far. Fortunately, my laptop is handling the heavy graphics because I have my graphics settings at the lowest. Hey, thank you for being here. What was I gonna say? Did you get to cook more tukneneng, Hanya? Cute model. I know, right? Her whole personality is cute. Her model is cute. She's very cute. Try to watch her VODs and you can hear how cute she is as well. You finished all the eggs, all the good eggs for Hanya. All the good eggs. Wait, Coney, you're gonna play Uma Musume. Enjoy MSK. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for playing my yeah. Thank you for playing my game, my account again. Enjoy the horse, girls. What's his name? Or Haru Urara, my favorite horse, and Gold Chip, my favorite horse. Have you tried Uma Musume? Me, I have not. I see so much of it on my timeline though, and people around me are playing it. But I have watched the anime. I have not played it. Sarap ng tokneneng. Yeah, Hanya made tokneneng from eggs. Duck eggs. Horse girl game won't load on my phone. Tenchu! Not you! But Tenchu, I heard you can play it on PC. I don't know how. Is it available on PC? I think you can play is it vertically, horizontally? I don't know. Some people were able to stream it, so I assume you can play it on PC. But it would be nice though if you can play it on your phone. Like when you're lying down, you don't wanna get on your PC. You wanna play with the horse girls, do some racing. Did you? Uma Celphy, then we bet yes. I am like Haru Urara, always aiming to win but never winning. Someday I will win. I'm just curious, so I installed. Hey, I hope you enjoy it. Everyone's been loving it. Who's your favorite horse, Hanya? I'm assuming that you've played it. Who's your favorite horse? Lupus, the name. Gladiator by trade. What? You can click it? I don't know you can do that. You can click it and it'll give you a definition. You haven't played it. No, I haven't played it yet. Maybe in the future. It looks so wholesome and it looks so cool and funny. Not really like cool in a way, cool in a way that, you know, you can train your horses to win races. They are old girls on this Uma Musume or just child's girl? I'm just asking. I'm not really sure, but they are based on real life racing horses, and I think the real life counterparts are a bit older now. I don't have any gacha games except BA. Blue Archive, I can't bring myself to play. We can. Yeah, you like horse girls, right? If you guys try to look at the real horses that they were based on, they're quite touching, inspiring. I don't know. Gold Chip is a real goofy horse in real life. Haru Urara has never won a race in her life, and now everyone's sending her her favorite grass. Yeah, they accept donations to feed them. I heard that for the loser horse girl, you can pay 3,000 yen to send her some high quality, her favorite grass. Very cute, very cute. Gladiators are participants in gladiator matches. They are renowned for their strength and battle prowess and ruled by an unwavering thirst for victory and glory. Would you like to tell me your name? It's Celphy. It's wholesome. Yeah, it is wholesome, Hanya.
Got
You
it.
might wanna try it.
It's
Or
rare to meet someone with
maybe
your
you
kind
wanna
of
watch
strength.
the anime first. Yeah, the anime. It's very. I liked it. I like the anime. I remember that it was so inspiring because they're all racing to reach their dreams. They wanna win their races and sing on stage after. I heard that they too in UK when I was working there. You heard about the racing horses? Only Shadows. As always, gacha players did what they do best: spam them. At least the grass is tangible, right? It's not just digital currency, it's real grass that your favorite horse can eat. It crashed the website. The website where you can donate grass, it crashed. Damn. Yeah, and about the donation meetings. Yeah, it's very good. Very wholesome. Maybe I'll try it, maybe. I did say that I have some free time right now. I fight a lot. I take down passive discords every day. Thanks. Your moves are impressive as well. Very impressive indeed.
Go! Yeah! I'm used to fighting the gladiators here, but the way you handled your blade...
It was Hanya. Hanya, thank you for the let's go.
It's beautiful. I like it.
What happened just now? Did they try to ambush you?
Mikan, thank you for the glasses. I'm smart.
Just about. That man,
I'm
Emilio,
knowledgeable.
used to be my
Ask me
partner.
about horse
The
facts.
Silvers
No, just
were
kidding. I don't know
probably
anything
behind
about
this.
horses.
The House of Silver is nobility in Septimont. I share their name, though. I'm sure they've thrown me out since I stepped away from the team.
Is this tied to the match fixing you mentioned?
Did you know that
Yes.
when horses
I
look
knew
at
something
you
was
sideways,
off, but
it's
I didn't
because
think
they
they'd
wanna
go this
look at you
far.
clearly. Because if
Maybe
they
they
look at you
threw some
straight
serious
on,
money at
they
it.
have impaired vision or something
I thought
like
the
that.
money I made them would have been
Lupa,
enough.
she's a badass. I kind of like her
Oh
as
well.
well. Who knows? I might pull some more later. Maybe a couple more temples. I like her personality. I like strong women like Zen.
I was thinking,
Badass
you're not a
girls like
local, are
Lupa
you?
as well. She's
How
smelling
about
us! She's doing a reverse
we team
sniffer.
up and fight together in the
Yeah.
finals!
Partners? Aibo?
That's Cardathia's frequency. But how?
Is that your way of saying yes?
We sniff her back, yeah.
I'm sorry. Lupa, have you ever met a
I
Ragunese
bet
girl
she
by the
smells
name
like
of Cardathia?
strawberries and sweat. Sweat because she fights a lot. But
Cardathia.
sweet like strawberry as
Nope,
well.
never heard of her. What's going on with her?
She's
I
missing.
don't know, Cardathia.
I'm looking for her. I tracked her to Septimont, and it seems she confronted Arsenosa.
Arsenosa is the symbol of our spirit, the great echo guarding Septimont for centuries. Besides the current F4, Augusta, nobody has ever faced her
F4? What's
directly.
an F4? Ruler of Septimont. So the sun goddess is the ruler of Septimont.
I don't know if this Cardathia of yours is strong enough to take on Arsenosa. If she did, it would be the talk of Septimont.
She will be able to take on Arsenosa. Trust, believe in our Cardathia. It's a goodness,
I
yes,
see.
a goodness.
No leads yet, then.
Well,
F4
that's
boys
why
over
you should
flowers,
join
Hannah
me in the
Ariana.
Aegon.
Yes, that's
When
what an F4
Arsenosa
is.
shows
Oh,
up in the
baby,
finals, you might
baby,
find the answers you're looking
baby,
for.
My baby.
The champion gets noble recognition, a hefty bonus, and some secret perks. If we win, you can take it all.
Hanya, did you ever get to watch the original Boys Over Flowers
If
live
that doesn't
action in
interest you,
Japanese?
then the
I love
attention
it.
that comes with being a champion will help you
love
find
it.
the information you need on her.
Yeah, all the
True,
F4 iterations
what's
so
in it
far
for
good.
you?
The Korean one, the Chinese
Me?
one, the Japanese one.
I just want to see
I've
the look
seen
on their
them all.
cheating faces when they realize I've beaten them at their own game. They're probably betting against me in secret. Ha! Doesn't matter. Once we win, they'll lose it all. Serves them right. If there's no punishment for crossing the line, then what's the point of a line at all? I don't know what other tricks my dear family has planned, but you're an outlander. Strong too. No ties to their schemes. That's why I look forward to walking this path with you. Can't wait to see what kind of gladiator you'll be.
Are we gonna participate? Of
Arse
course
and
we're
Osa
gonna
and the
participate.
unusual frequency I felt from Lupa are the only leads I've got.
The voiceover flowers was a staple in my place
Lupa
back
denies
then.
ever
We
meeting
literally
Carthia,
rushed to
but
go
maybe
back
she
home
didn't
first.
realize,
You
or
were a fan of voiceover
she's hiding something.
flowers. The Korean, that's
Either
the Korean
way,
one, right?
teaming up with her
I had
is
a
my
big,
best
big
shot
crush
at
on
finding the truth.
the guy number 2, the quiet guy. I had a big crush on him back then. Yeah, they were all so pretty. As expected of Korean actors, they're also pretty. And the main guy there is the one who made the disgusting meme, right? Disgusting shit. Yes, the quiet guy was my OTP. Let's go. But we know, guy number 1 is like, you know, the one who ends up with the girl. I forgot what they're called in Korean. They aired it in ABS-CBN, right? ABS-CBN? I don't remember if they retained their Korean names. They kept their Korean names in the Tagalog dub. I forgot. Okay, let's do this. Let's aim for the championship. Of course, we have to fight. We have to go through a whole lot of shebang before we find Cartithia.
That's the spirit! Well then, I'll be counting on you, my fellow warrior.
Give me a kiss. No, just kidding.
Now, let's go register our team.
We have a team now. Where are we going? Oh, to register. It's kinda lagging on my end. Only shadows. I still have a crush on my classmate. She's hot, but she's married now. But we talk.
Is
Even
team
though she's
registration
married.
still
That's
open?
good. That's nice. It's nice to keep in touch
May I
with your
please greet
childhood
you?
crush.
Yes, you
You
can
still
register.
have a crush on her, even though she's married.
You're
Yeah.
Contender Looper.
Don't be a homewrecker.
Do
Keep
you
the crush
wish
to
to register a
yourself.
new team?
But it's nice that
But
you can still
aren't
talk
you-
to them. Yeah, to her.
Plans
Married.
changed. I'm no
Damn.
longer with the Bow
How
of
time
Legions.
flies
This is my
so
new
fast.
partner.
One day.
I see. Allow
you
me
have
to
a
register
childhood
you again.
crush.
Have you
Tomorrow
settled on a
they're
name for your new
married.
team?
Lamang. Yeah, don't be a homewrecker.
Warrior, why don't you do the honors?
What's my name? Oh, is it our team name? Assured Victory, Stella Lupa, Wuthering Wives. I'd rather it says Wuthering Wives. Let's go with Wuthering Wives.
We Septimontians live alongside the waves, and I've always found their sound soothing.
They said the name of the game.
A perfect choice. Alright, the name is settled. We'd also like to apply for the special qualifier, please.
Of course. Please wait one moment.
What is the special qualifier?
The Gladiators Aegon happens year-round in Septimont. Training matches, exhibition games, open tournaments, you name it. But we're after the Aegon of Champions, the biggest event held every 4 years. We also call it the Great Aegon.
The Great Aegon? Why are they? Oh, they're training. I have 3 girls as my girlfriend, but no, I don't need it anymore. Don't want to talk about that. Oh my god, we have a player right here. Not just kidding. Do you by any chance have 3 girlfriends right now at the same time? Yeah, you don't have to talk about it, but that's That's cool, I guess. That's very interesting. I've met some poly people before, but 3 girlfriends, yo. I'm good the way I am. Yeah, no need to add the 4th one. No need to add the 4th one. It may be tempting to flirt with your childhood crush because you still have a crush on them, but karma's a bitch. Don't wanna be karma'd back. Oh, not at the same time. That's good. That's good. I mean, I have nothing against polyamorous people, but no. So you've had 3 girlfriends. That's a lot. That's a lot. And if you say you're good as you are right now, why are they so fast? If you're good as you are right now, then high five, I guess. I was hesitating because I'm single. I'm single and I love it.
There are 2 stages. A points-based prelim and an elimination round. The prelim is almost over. The eliminations
I'm
are
single
about
and
to
I'm going,
begin.
yeah, let's go! High five! Group hug! Single still the end. Single still the end. Don't need no problems in my life, in our lives. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Being in a relationship sucks. Let's just be single. Absolutely, Hanya. That is the same sentiment. The same sentiment. Having a partner is a responsibility, and it's like taking care of another person when you can barely take care of yourself, and there are times when you can't predict their actions. So the only person you can really trust is yourself. There's nobody else who can love you like yourself. Treat yourself. Saves a lot of money. Exactly, absolutely. I almost got, no, not really broke, but no, I had a partner before, and they were still studying while I was working, so I had to pay for our meals once in a while, and I mean it was good time, but having to pay for meals is and gifts as well. Gifts, you can't be cheap on them. If you know you have the money and you want to buy them something special, you gotta spend on them as well, right? I'd rather spend my money on myself. I'd rather do my shopping for myself. I'd rather pamper myself. I sound so bitter, but yes, let us be single. It's better that way. And also, when you're single, you're kind of more open, right? You're kind of more open, wink wink. You're not locked down. So you can do like friendly chatter to anyone you want. Eliminations are about to
I've earned
begin.
enough points from the regular matches to qualify for the finals, but since you're a new contender, you'll need to win the special qualifier
yes, the freedom,
to make it.
The freedom. Can
If
play
we
with your
defeat
friends
higher-ranked
whenever you want. You
opponents,
can talk
we can
to
secure a
anyone
spot with
whenever you
fewer
want.
matches.
You don't. You're not.
Just the 2 of us.
It's not
Is it
your
2 on 2?
responsibility to say good morning and good night to anyone.
It's one of the reforms the new FO made to the
Girl,
Aegon.
in my country,
And
if you're a car like a Mustang,
our Echo
everyone wants
partners
to
will
be
be
your
joining
girl,
us
but
in the
no
arena
thank you.
too.
Don't go for those
Echoes
girls who
aren't
only
just
want sports
companions
cars
to us,
or
but
luxury
proof of our
cars.
strength. Hunting them, taming them, and learning to live with
No,
them is the
thank you
first
indeed.
lesson every Septimontian learns. Now, it's time to step into the arena.
We can't
Ready?
eat sports cars. Exactly. Is that gonna make me full? Nah. Is that gonna leave me satisfied? I'm just gonna look at it for like a few seconds and like, that's a nice car. Sure, it can take me places, but so can a bike. So can walking. So can an Uber. Is that gonna satisfy my needs, especially the tummy needs? No, it's not. So don't need no sports cars. I think that a girl who wants a man who can provide is fine, but whatever they can provide is fine as long as they do it with hard work and earnestly. I was born ready. Car needs parking. Oh yeah. I heard I don't live in the condo. I have a brother who lives in the condo, and they have to pay for the parking space even though they're paying for a unit already. And the parking space monthly rental is really expensive. Like at this point, why not just Uber every day? It's more convenient than having to find a parking space, having to drive your car, pay so much thousands of pesos to maintain the car, and the rising gas prices. Only shadows. My friends have a Mustang from 2021 GT 450 horsepower. 450 horsepower, bro. And when he come in Romania, all the girls jump on him. I was like, chill back. That's a Chad right there. That's a Chad right there on the shadows. Just give me a fork and a few bottles of Ang dali mo namang pasiyahin, Mikan. Ang dali mo namang pasiyahin. But understandable, yeah. AD. Ads! Ads! Yon, Sriracha. Oh, Sriracha. Sriracha. It feels like a travesty. We went shopping, grocery shopping, like a week ago or a couple of weeks ago. I got a bottle of sriracha. It was like 200 pesos or like $4 US. And my mom was looking at me, why is that bottle so big? Can you not find a smaller bottle? But I'm like, Mom, there's no small sriracha bottle. And I need this sriracha. Yeah, masarap, masarap. And the nice thing about it is it seems a little pricey, right? $4 US, big bottle of sriracha. What was I gonna say? It's gonna last for 2 years. Expiration date 2027. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. I said I was born ready, but I'm not. I have to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be back. Potato! Hello! Welcome! Welcome. Thank you for the first time, Chan. I'm sorry. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a nice Sunday so far. So far we are doing Wuthering Waves Septimont story. But I have to quickly go to the bathroom first. My favorite car is a BMW. $90,000? Oh my god. I have zero knowledge about cars. Zero, I tell ya. Oh, by the way, if you heard, Tronic Stores sells California Reaper powder. Isn't Tronic Stores an electronic store? How come they have California Reaper powder? Have you tried it? Have you tried it? Is it gonna make you cry? Is it gonna make you wanna die? You know the YouTube YouTube channel that has celebrity guests and they make you eat wings? I kinda wanna try that. How's the stream? Stream's good so far. I'm very happy that my potato laptop is handling Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves. Thank you for asking. Tronics is a picture company. Sorry. Pa-picture tapos pabili ng California Reaper powder, please. 2 bottles. Bro, you're so adventurous when it comes to spices. I love it. But noted. May Tronics ba sa amin? Tronics. So, Tronics is a store where you get in and then they can take a picture of you for your ID and whatever photo purposes you may need. And they sell California Reaper powder. Dopey girl. Oh my god, yeah. They kinda everywhere. Pero yes, Dopey. I'm sorry. I'll be back. Where's the mute? I'm back. I'm back. Arrow! Arrow, hello. Hi, Arrow. How are you? How are you doing? How are you doing? I'm sorry. A dog is knocking on my door. She's back. She's back. Thank you, I'm back. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Arrow. Wait, let me check. They can take pictures of you suffering from the spice right away. Oh, so that's their whole shtick, Mikan. That's why they have the California Reaper. So that they can take a picture of you suffering from the spice. Surprise Pikachu. Sorry. We gonna do WuWa daily. Okay, thank you so much for the like. Oh, the shadow. Oh, the shadows. Parasocial relationship. It goes further, it goes deeper than a parasocial relationship. We have an edible relationship. Edible. An arrow. Wait, dog is barking. I'm gonna let the dog in. Ooh, let the dogs in. No, just kidding. Parasocial, yes. Yaki and I have a relationship that goes beyond parasocial. It goes to the point that I wanna eat the tiger as steak. We'll be eating tiger at dawn. But yeah, going back. Sorry for that. When I went downstairs, the little doggy was waiting for me, so I had to pet her because she's so cute. Steak with a lot of gravy, indeed. Sarap gravy. Okay, I'm back. Welcome. Wow, that was quick. What kind of daily did you do? But I like how in WuWa, it's you just gotta consume some resin, then you're good. But that was really quick. It takes me about 15 minutes to do my, what do you call this? Wuthering Waves dailies. Wuthering Tiger Steak. Yes. Have you tried? What is the most exotic thing that you have eaten? Me, ostrich. The most exotic thing I have eaten. So I'm not afraid of no tiger. Give me that tiger. Ayo, yeah! Arrow Hanya is here. Now, continuing on. I think so far, we have teamed up with Lupa and we're gonna participate in the Hunger Games. And yeah, we're doing the preliminaries. Hi, Arrow.
Registration completed. Let's see how well we work together in the arena, my fellow warrior.
Sorry if I go quiet. I kinda wanna listen to the wonderful voice. Win your first qualifier. Okay.
Are you ready for the gladiators, Aegon?
Yes.
Happy hunting, gladiators.
Thank you. Hermilia Perez. Hannah is pretty cool. Very cool. Absolutely cool and cute and adorable and sexy and lovable. Oh. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to play Arrow Rover.
Keep it. Waves rise. Judgment strikes.
Lupa is fighting alongside us, and I think my frames are going crazy. But it's okay. It's okay. Vulcan mining.
We make quite the hunting party.
I can't see. Who are we fighting? The green guy.
Wind rank. Hopefully this helps. Tempest of slashes. The wicked will face judgment. Wind howls. Unfettered by bounds.
You can do it. Thank you.
Annihilation.
Yes,
Wind
you.
rises.
Yes, you.
Tempest of slashes.
Boom. With the power of Hanya. We have defeated the green guy.
Oh, we did it!
Yeah, she's cute.
That was perfection! I haven't felt this alive in ages! Ah, I could finally focus and savor every moment of the fight. Oh, thanks, warrior. Teaming up with you was the right choice.
Who you calling mommy? Lupa? Is Lupa mommy material? She's like a sparring partner material, I think. But if you think she's mommy, everyone can be a mommy if you put your mind and heart into it. When do they smooch? Right now. I say we smooch right now. There was a few points earlier where she got really close to us and I was like, I hope they kiss. Yeah, she is. It's 100%. Okay. Mommy Lupa mommy. Angie, tsundere childhood one. Yeah, that's exactly perfect, Tenju. I didn't think of that, but you encapsulated it perfectly. She's like the angry tsundere childhood friend. Exactly. Kiss kudamidi, fraternally. Enjoying alongside Echoes was an entirely new thrill. Yeah, it was kinda fun. Fighting alongside Echoes and Lupa.
And these are...
cute!
These little ones love a good match and never miss a chance to cheer for the victors. They're more fired
and
up
they
than
cheer
usual.
for us when we win.
Looks like your performance really won them over.
Pretty cute.
They're just as lively as the baby Grafana came across before.
This city does know how to keep spirits high. Speaking of Griffons, they've actually been here long before our ancestors even settled on this archipelago. Anyway, we've secured our first victory. The next match will be held further out. If we take down the top-ranked team there, we'll be... Oh!
Have we?
Lupa! Please! Sign for me!
She has fans!
It's you!
The
in the flesh!
cameraman is
Why would
your
a
best
star
friend.
like you be in this arena? It's impossible to get a ticket for your matches. Oh, I wish I'd known sooner that you'd be here.
Did something happen with the Bow of Legions, Contender Lupa? Who's this new gladiator you've got with you? Did you replace Contender Emilio?
Oh, that's front-page material.
Yeah, she's very cute, Hanya.
Hey,
make like you. She has pink hair as well.
I loved your performance. Please, will you sign for me?
It's kind of like Gapmore, right? She's supposed to be so badass, the best gladiator, but she's so cute when she smiles. Many people, you're quite a celebrity, Lupa. Wait.
It comes with a job. Gotta draw a crowd in, both in and out of the arena.
And she adores her fans as well. I like that. It has that a tablet. Yeah, they do have phones and tablets. Well, not really a phone. It's like the gourd thing they have. Now run.
I can handle this, but it will take too long.
So
we need to make a swift retreat.
Oh.
Okay, but how?
Easy. Just hold my hand and don't let go.
We have to run, or do we get a cutscene? We held hands, Yaki. We held hands. It was so lewd. Oh, they're still cheering for us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can I take you home? Nah. Oh, running away. Hand holding. Very lewd. Very R18. Very sissy. I'm sorry for that, chat. We had to witness some hand holding.
Let the staff at the next arena know we're coming to avoid the same chaos there. Matches are the bread and butter for gladiators. The famous ones rarely take on impromptu matches.
I should have changed my category to 18 plus.
Now,
sorry.
Word about our new team is gonna spread very quickly.
Yeah, they didn't even kiss first. They didn't even take us to dinner. They took us straight to fighting, and then hand holding. Well, we have to take steps before we get to the hand holding.
What was that smirk about?
Oh, me? I just sent word to certain people. Too much modesty is a double-edged sword, so I'll be frank. When it comes to bankability,
Did you follow the fake
I'm at the top of the game.
I'm saving for Serydra. Did you get Saber?
That's how my
Did you
family,
get Saber
the
and have you
Silvers,
fully
have kept their
built
position all these
your
years.
archer?
But the nobles here in
Archer's
Septimont
pretty
are
strong.
always hunting and contesting for more.
Yeah, I skipped Saber,
Lions
but I did
and
get
wolves tear each other to pieces, while the
Archer's
hyenas
signature
lie
weapon
in
from the
wait,
200 bows I did
eyes on their bellies. Everyone wants a taste of the juiciest meat.
I didn't get Spark.
And with the illegal betting they're running,
just
once they hear I've
you
left
got
the old
Saber at
team,
250. That's so
they'll be
lucky.
scrambling to
Congratulations
get a
on your
piece of
Saber.
the action.
Saber! I did the story. It was pretty funny.
Are you planning to muddy
It was
the waters?
What do you call this?
The
Apparently,
waters are already so
their
murky.
characters,
No
their
one can tell who's
personalities are so
stirring
on
them.
point. Saber was always hungry. She ate 100 burgers.
But it's still better
and
now
Archer
than it was before.
always
The
dissing
mess
his
they
master.
made before the
It
current
was nice.
effort took over was.
You got a Sunday. Congrats on Sunday. Very useful Sunday. I love my Sunday. I spent 12,000 shade for Acheron.
May
and give
applause
up.
greet you.
No.
Huh.
When was
I see you've been
Acheron?
waiting
Was
for
there a
me,
rerun
Cartor.
of Acheron recently? I don't have her. I don't
He was
I
my
don't really
manager
pull
back
for
in the Bow of
meta
Legions.
because I'm broke.
Has a gift for knowing exactly what to say to anyone.
That
though
sucks. But you know,
that's his
sooner
flaw
or later,
too.
before you know it, Acheron
For
is
a
gonna
manager,
be back.
isn't the
And
skill
by
of
then, if
speech
you still want
always
her,
a
you're
gift?
gonna get her. I'm glad I invested in Sparkle
Donna
early and her
Julia
light code when she
Silver
came up.
hoped you'd
I'm so sad I
behave
don't have a
and return
Sparkle.
home. She bid that I reason with you at
Sparkle
the
is one of my
earliest
favorite
opportunity.
characters, and I absolutely love her trailer.
It seems
her
you found
trailer.
yourself a new ally.
But
dare say her
somehow
hopes are
Sparkle
dashed.
always gets released between characters that I
What's
like.
your point?
So don't play HSR
How
anymore. Did you rage
disappointing.
quit because
Not
of
even a hint of
Acheron?
charm when there's no crowd around to impress.
Or maybe you just didn't have time, or shifted your priorities.
Feeling confident about
You
this
rage quit,
new
same.
team of yours?
Well, not on sorry.
What do you think your
I rage
chances
quit
are of
Genshin
winning
for
the
a year
championship?
because I lost. I lost Aya
With
to.
me and this warrior. 100%.
Oh yeah, congrats on having Sparkle. She's very, very, very
Enough,
good for
Cartor. Spare me
Archer.
the games
And
and
right
empty
now,
chatter.
they're saying
I have
Archer
one
is one of
question
the
for you.
strongest DPSs. And we all get a free Archer, right?
Are you involved in the Silvers match fixing?
Very worthwhile investment, Sparkle. Crazy little,
No.
quirky little
I do
girl.
love money, but I don't stoop to that level to
I
get it.
do love money. I like his voice. I do. He's so sleazy.
Fair enough. You may leave now.
Dangerous question, Looper. Think carefully. The Silvers
Hero, you
may
stopped
have
playing
made you a
Genshin,
star,
you
but
downloaded it and got free
they can just as easily
Why are you so
snuff
lucky
that
with your
star out.
voice? Though,
I've never doubted your
understandable.
talent, but
I think
these
the
are
bad
the
thing
rules of the
about
game.
like Genshin and Star Rail and maybe WuWa as well, it's
I
gonna
know
be
the rules well
overwhelming for
enough.
new players and returning players. And it gets really annoying when you don't get the character that you really want.
I just wonder if Dom and
Unless
Julia
you
truly
spend money, which is
understands
not
who's
very
making the rules
advisable
now,
unless you have a lot of
and where she
disposable
stands in this game.
income. It can get overwhelming. And congratulations on your Furina, by the way. Along with Kazuha, Furina is like one of, I think, the most essential Genshin characters. So congrats. Rip indeed that you uninstalled it, but maybe you will be reunited
Is this
with your
Kartura
Genshin.
also from House Silva?
With your Genshin. I don't like this guy. Makes me.
Not exactly.
I don't
He's
like
a free
him
man,
either. I just
though
like
he's
his
handled
voice.
Bow of Legion's
He's
business
so
for the past few
sleazy
years.
and unashamed
Look.
of it.
Huh.
Look at what?
Once we cross the hero's way, we'll get to the Capitolini Hill district.
Bamboo iris.
For centuries, countless gladiators have walked this very path to Colosseum Olympus, just as we are now.
What's this? Is that gonna make us faster? Oh, it is. It's like the cat paws in Renacita. Ah. So this ka Watashi wa Celphy. Ohio gozaimasu.
The next qualifier is just ahead. Once it's over, we can take the cable car to the upper city.
Look at that, guys.
On an autumn day,
glorious,
the view as you ascend
epic,
and the breeze on your face can truly lift your spirits.
Architecture. Rat jump scare. It was a jump scare indeed. Rat. I thought you left already, and now you're back. Rat, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Were you lurking? Was I on full volume? I'm sorry. They want a lullaby. No, just kidding. I suck at singing lullabies. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. Damn! Oh, you just got back. Okay, good, that's good. They have some, they have milk. They have milk. They should drink like half a glass or a glass of milk. And then just like, try to get sleepy. But I know the last time, if you want to, you can sing me a lullaby. What lullabies do I know? I don't know. Twinkle, twinkle, little rat. Oh, I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a little rat in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little rat. I don't know the rest of the lyrics. PH Classic Lullaby.
Time for replacements.
I think someone mentioned the Classic Lullaby before in Koni's stream, but I forgot what it was. I will have some milk soon, gonna do a little chill gaming and then try again. Yeah, sometimes when I play Genshin too much, I get sleepy for a reason. When I explore too much, it's like my mind gets tired and I'm like, let me sleep. That's why I like playing like Genshin on my tablet, because when I get tired, I can just turn off the tablet and lie down. But I remember my mom singing me this when I was young. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Incredible. That's why I love you. That's why you're my friend. What are they gonna say? Classic PH lullaby. I don't know. I don't know one, honestly. I think I know one, but I forgot.
There.
Kimchi! Hello! I am having a great day. How are you doing, Kimchi? I hope you're having a nice... Is it Sunday? Ah, nice Sunday right now. A nice weekend. Thank you for dropping by, Kimchi. I just sang a lullaby, the best lullaby of my life. It was called Twinkle Twinkle Little Rat. Start the fight. Okay.
Are you ready for the gladiators, Aegon?
Yes.
Happy hunting, gladiators.
That's what I'm here for. I'm doing well. I went to Blackpink. Blackpink concert right last night? Wait, where are they? Are you in Korea? Are you in America? You don't have to answer that, but that's so cool. I love Blackpink. I love Blackpink. Do you like their new song, Jump? I saw their music video. I love Jennie. They are in Los Angeles. Let's go! Are you Blink? Are you like a big fan? That's where you went? Or did you just go because a friend asked?
Judgment strikes!
I hope you had fun. I hope you're happy. If you are a fan, I hope you're happy that they're together again.
The wicked will face judgment.
World Tour. That's what I heard that was. A World Tour. They're reunited. They have a new single out. And they're doing a World Tour. All four of them.
The wicked will face judgment.
It was kind of surprising for me because I thought they were all going solo with their solo activities, but I'm glad they reunited. I love Blackpink. Like even before the pandemic, before I would go to the office, my jam would be Blackpink, or when I wanna get pumped up, my jam is Blackpink. And even when I work out once in a while, Blackpink in your area is in my playlist. They did solo and got locked. Yeah, apatu, right?
Standing on the water.
Lisa! Yeah, Lisa from Thailand. I love Lisa as well. She's so badass. At first, my favorite was Lisa
my
because
sword
she was
struck
like
the contender's
dancer.
echo.
Then, the more I watched them, I like how sassy
echoes in
Jennie is,
Septimont
but
seem
Lisa
to exhibit
is
unstable
phenomenal
power.
Dancer,
Something is
performer.
definitely off.
I love her Coachella performance
Seems
and
like no one else has noticed.
One of her recent music videos she shot in Thailand.
Isn't in the power of
Bangkok.
regions anymore.
You're gonna say
What a shame.
Kimchi. My brother is a big Rose
Just 2
fan. My
days before the
brother has a
finals as
Funko
well.
Pop of Rose,
unfair to her
and
former
he
teammates
buys
and her
every
fans.
brand partnership that Blackpink has. The
Is it
last
about
one
the
I
money?
remember was
She's
the
changed
Oreo
teammates
one.
how many times now?
Blackpink X
As for that
Oreo.
newcomer next to
And
her.
I remember that fondly. No, vividly.
Without the
because
Silver's
he,
patronage, there's
he
no
asked
way
for
a
money
gladiator from the
me.
outskirts could
Lisa
rise
is
to
my
fame
girl,
so
but
quickly.
for the songs, it's Rose. Ah, understandable. Rose is like the vocals
Where are you
of the
hearing
group,
these
right? She has the
rumours?
strongest
Open
vocals
your
of the
eyes.
group.
WuWa has never once
Yeah,
thrown a
Jump,
match.
the new song. Funny thing about Jump is people were
Everyone thinks they
alleging
know the
that they
real
used
truth.
AI,
But
but
consider
then
this.
their
It's a
production
fact I know to be true.
showed us behind the scenes and they shut down the haters. Jump. Rose's
go,
song
my
Toxic
fellow
is
warrior.
average loving. I don't think I've heard Toxic. Toxic. What's the last solo song I've heard? I think it's the one where Jennie performed in Coachella as
It's
well.
all going as planned.
Like Jennie. Jennie.
Let's get you
Jennie.
settled somewhere comfortable. Then tomorrow, we head to the
I'm
Coliseum
sorry for
Melindus
the
for the
ad.
semi-finals.
Can I dismiss it? If I click on dismiss,
I've been
is
meaning
it
to
gonna
ask,
cancel the ad?
Is there a body of water in the city? I think Cardathia might have passed through there.
Heart dresses, thank you, Yaki. Thank you,
A
thank you.
body of water. Yes,
I
but it's
heart
been
you.
abandoned for
My
years.
favorite food.
That elevator can take you to the upper city, though.
I'm good, I don't get ads. Ah, they have the Discord
If you want to try looking for her, we can start there.
That allows you to not have ads.
Thanks.
That's good, that's good. Subscribe
And,
to not ads. Not ads.
Yes?
It's not a paid partnership with Tenchu. Tenchu is
Those
just an
people just
advocate
now,
of
they
subscribing
talked
to
about
people so you
match
don't
fixing.
get ads.
Don't you want to challenge that?
Wink.
I didn't have time to gather enough proof before I left. Besides, this isn't the
Tenchu's
right
been sold
moment.
for 16 months. Thank you, Tenchu. Kisses.
Once we win the
Mwah.
Great Aegon,
Mwah.
I'll make everything
Mwah.
public. In Septimont, only the winners get to speak their truth.
What do you mean only the winners get to speak their truth? Their slander gets under my skin.
A strong warrior with a kind heart. Rare traits for a hunter.
Codes just traded with 23
Honestly,
viewers.
I don't care what people say.
It's code again!
This
It's the
kind of
code
thing
raid
happens
again!
every
Code
day
raid!
in
Fire,
Septimont.
codes on fire!
If you
fire,
can't
fire,
handle it, you
codes on
won't
fire!
last.
Welcome! Do your evil.
Tarnishing rivals' reputations is one of their usual tricks.
followed.
I cut off their betting profits, so it's only natural they'd be upset.
Praise me, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome, Raiders. Fire, codes on fire. It's the code raid again. Thank you so much, code. You gotta lurk and finish a boss. Are you still doing Destiny? Are you still playing Destiny? Thank you again for the follow. Just praise me. Welcome, Raiders. Hello, Lalis Chandra. That's a very cool sounding name. And yeah, Brisley, hello. Code, welcome Raiders. Hi, welcome Raiders. I'm Celphy, and we're doing Wuthering Waves right now. We're doing the Septimont main story. I haven't done it in a long while because I was busy, but now I'm back and I love it so far. And I've just been yapping. I'm sorry about that. If like good, you gotta lurk, or you gotta leave, you gotta do something else, that's totally fine. But you are free to lurk and free to join the chat if you want to. Either way, I hope your Sunday is good. I hope your Sunday is vibing. You can take my love. I will take it wholeheartedly. Give me all the love. Just kidding. Or am I? Yeah, let's go Raiders. Welcome. I hope you're having a nice day. Yeah, we're just gonna continue playing WuWa. Please take care of yourselves. If you have to go, that's totally fine. If you wanna lurk, that's great as well. And I would appreciate that. Stretch, thank you. Yeah, we're our Raiders. Look at me, chat. I got Raiders. You see me rolling. They're raiding. I'm sorry, Stretch. Thank you for the stretch. Rock Diesel. You mean the pose of the girl with the black hair? Is that a Rock Diesel pose? Yeah, thank you for the stretch. You guys stretch as well. Stretch those muscles, stretch those arms, stretch those backs. Don't be a shrimp.
Besides, now I have a reliable warrior by my side.
Wait, did I?
That's all
Did
that
I
matters.
forget? Did I forget to shout out Code? Good luck with your destiny. If you're still playing Destiny, good luck with the boss. You got this. Programmer Code. Coding.
No worrying about whether my teammate can keep up. No dealing with petty politics.
So cute.
Just the thrill of the fight.
Bro, are we gonna be a Lupa haver after this? I mean, the Chinese guy is not gonna launch soon, right? I believe maybe it's gonna be the moon goddess before. No, the sun goddess before the moon goddess. Lupa.
Thank you for that, my fellow warrior.
Yeah, guys, let's check out Code. Thank you again for the raid. Where are we going? Yaki.
Why would the place you mentioned be
Are you getting
abandoned?
ready for our steak tonight, Yaki?
Because of the first dark tide in Raguna. Oh,
remember,
you know
do
what
not
a
take
dark
bath.
tide is,
We
right?
need the extra stuff.
Yes.
Due to certain safety concerns at the time.
It's kinda laggy, but I hope that's okay. It's not like you have a choice. It's not like we have a choice. This is the lowest graphics settings already. I'm just happy we're not totally freezing or crashing. Celphy is waifu. Hello again. Sorry, naputol. Sorry, naputol. That happens to me as well. How was your chores? I'm good. Surviving.
You said
Do you play
Cartothea
WuWa?
might have been
WuWa
here.
has like such a
Do you have an
high-end
idea of where
graphics,
she
and
passed
I'm
through?
barely
I think somewhere
able
over
to run the game.
There.
How are you? How was your chores? How was the
Ah,
things you had to
that's
do?
where the statue
Errands.
of
Yeah, you
Hercules
said
is.
errands. Celphy is waifu. I am indeed waifu. You guys said that if there is a Celphy character in any of the gacha games, you would wait for it, right? You would wait for it? You better do that, because next year, 2026, I will be a character in Genshin. Mark my words, not just kidding. Selfie with Celphy. Yeah, take a selfie. First, let me take a selfie. How's WuWa on stream? Did something change? No, nothing really. Aside
the
from
place.
the
I'll look for
nonsense
Cartothea's
yapping
traces here.
and simping over WuWa wives. We're just barely getting on with the story. Well, what's happening? We're about to join the Hunger Games, and we got a partner right now. Her name is Lupa. Hope they add one in Orc. No, yucky. But actually, what's a grifter? A grifter is someone who does questionable things to succeed. Is that it, right? The grifter that I am will allow it. Anything to get my name out there. If I have to be a character in Orc Massage, then so be it. So be it. How many players do Orc Massage have? if I become a character in Orc Massage, I would want to partner with Stream Elements, Stream Labs as well, so that they can do partner, you know, sponsored streams, get the word out there. Maybe have Celphy Orc Massage merch in the anime conventions and stuff. Did you guys know that there's a corn convention? Like porn convention where corn stars gather and stuff. It was very interesting.
Through the connection we share.
Alright then. I'll wait here. Good luck.
Good luck. What am I? Are we meditating? Call about the power of Imperator, calling for the one who shares its essence. Oh, are we finally gonna see Cartisia? We're looking for Cartisia. Cartisia isn't here. That sucks. That means we gotta do more story and spend more time together, Lupa.
How's it going? You look frustrated.
Not really. I just feel uneasy. I'm okay.
That's right. I'm sure you'll make progress by the finals. Hercules. His statues once stood tall on both sides of the street, watching over the heroes of Septimont as they set out to hunt.
Encoding overloaded. Yeah, Hercules. Hercules with a T. Hercules with a T. Wait, my OBS just sent me a warning message that something's overloaded. Damn. Maybe I'm gonna exit out of my Opera browser. Hopefully that helps. That is so late. I know, right? Why don't we just make him Hercules but with the T, so it's not really Hercules. I got the thing for my project done real quick and the whole thing did explode. Yippee! Yay! Congrats, Red! Congrats, Red! Maybe that's why you couldn't sleep. It was on the back of your mind. You were thinking of your project even though you were sleepy. You said you were gonna game. You didn't game. But that's good. That's good. Got the thing for your project done. So you won't need a monster tomorrow. You won't need monster tomorrow. You can just chill because it's rainy and nice and cold.
Back
now,
then,
are you
the
gonna
chimes drifting up from the city with the finest sounds of glory. Beware of the Kerosaurs lurking below. Those tacit discords will ambush anyone who falls into the water.
Kerosaur?
Are those the city's ruins down there?
Yes, remnants of the old district. We rarely use this route since it's too dangerous, but some thrill seekers come here to hunt tacit discords. Speaking of which, this area is actually under silver jurisdiction.
Yeah, one is good.
One
is good. We can do the rest tomorrow. I'll sleep pretty soon, but for now it's for children. Yeah, go play whatever you want. Go play until you get sleepy.
I've never heard that name before, but it feels strangely familiar.
It's nice that we're Steam friends now. I can see what you're playing. No, I don't have Steam on right now. But I know what games you have. I know what games you've been playing. I know what games you've perfected. I know everything about you. No, just kidding. Nice! It's Cartisia. It's our baby girl. Look, she's so small. I know what kind of man you are. I know what you are. She knows. Cue the song. She knows. I think that she knows. Oh my. I know what kind of person you are. You are a furry. No, just kidding. You are. I'm terrified. I just know you wouldn't be terrified of me. We have known each other for a long time. Is that the one character with 2 farms? Yeah! This is her! smaller girl form, and she also has a giant form. So at this form, she is Cartisia. When she is in her goddess form, she is Fleur de Lis. But it's just one person. I mean, they've merged.
I'm managing. I can still move, but I'm exhausted.
What? Yeah, she has 2 forms.
I've walked for so long, for so
She
far,
was
still
so
can't leave
hyped.
this
Everyone
city.
wanted her during the last time she was on the banner. And yeah, because she's super strong. One of the strongest. I don't know if you guys saw it, but her ultimate animation went viral on Twitter, I think. Or maybe it went viral on my feed because I'm a gacha fan. But yeah.
Tide Blight? Could she mean the Dark Tide? What's your name?
And story-wise, we are looking for that girl.
Don't remember.
What happened to our Lupa? Did you suddenly have amnesia? Or haven't happened? Let me catch up to that. Lupa got lupus, oh no. Wait, Mika, did you watch House? Dr. House? Everyone has lupus in House.
That's alright. Memories can be recovered. And so can your name. I've been through something similar myself, and
I did watch
House. Find my way back.
I binged it. I think it was on Netflix.
Only just arrived here.
Wow! Thank you for the hydrate. Was that loud outside?
Would you mind sharing with me what you still remember?
Thank you for the hydrate and the head bag. Thank you.
Who?
Yeah, love House. We all love House. Let's go.
My name is
Thank you for the hydrate and the head bag.
I'm Raguna's.
Mama! I can't do it right now. I could do it earlier, but not now.
A wandering knight.
I haven't finished the last season. I'm telling you, Mikan, the finale, the ending, the final season, very satisfying. I love it. I finished Silicon Valley season 6 last night. The ending wasn't very satisfying for me, but House ending very good. Chef's kisses. They don't make old man yaoi like that. I need more old man yaoi. I need a guy who is addicted to Vicodin, who's using a cane, and his kind but goofy best friend. I need a yaoi of that.
Come forth and face
here.
my
Oh, my two girl crushes are here. Dushti,
Welcome to my city, Griffon's fortress of Capitolini Hill.
Capitolini Hill. Celphy, exactly. Don't spoil me yet. Okay, I will not spoil. No spoil. No spoil for the house. Just a great final season. What happened to you guys? She's a star. She's like the Robin.
Oh,
she's like
some
the Robin
minor
of
noble
WuWa.
houses that didn't make
she's
it
not
into the Aegon.
an idol or a singer, but she's everyone's
In
hero.
Septimont,
She's
strength
everyone's
and
favorite
power go hand in
gladiator,
hand.
Lupa.
Nobles
My
get
last
war,
memory
but
is when
they better
House
prove their worth
crashed
it
the
and pull
car
their weight
to
for the city.
Yeah, that was an epic moment. That was an epic moment.
The Aegon isn't just about fortune. It's a way
crazy
to find
that
the
House
capable.
did that,
For
but
nobles, the ability to command and control echoes is a basic responsibility.
Me go back selling cards.
the heir of a noble
You're doing
house isn't strong
PCG
enough,
game.
it signals that the
Enjoy.
house
Get
is
those rare
unfit to hunt
cards.
down
Get that
tacit
money.
discord
Thank you for
or protect
the redeems
Septimont.
and the Larka.
So, if a noble's been living it up, they'll end up broke and thrown out of the city after paying high patronage fees for a gladiator who doesn't even make the cut.
Thank you for the... Makes sense. Sounds harsh. Makes sense, I guess. That's their culture. May the RNG Jesus bless you indeed.
That's how it works.
Hey, WuWa, get
You
all
fought
the
your
luck that
battles
she
too,
deserves.
or you wouldn't be here.
TCG. Great. Genshin couldn't make Yuffie play cards, but she's playing the TCG game.
It's the training ground nobles and commoners alike have to fight in. The victors show no mercy to the defeated. People here despise weakness, worship strength, and crave glory. Where you come from doesn't matter. Prove yourself, and the crowd will scream your name. The spotlight's yours, the arena's your stage. But if you can't keep up,
is more satisfying than playing the card game
chosen,
itself. Really?
you'll be left in the shadows.
I'm not a big fan of card games, but is that really the case with a TCG game? That's good then. I know play brain games, small brain hurt. WoW has reverted to a caveman speed.
Well, come to think of it, we haven't had anything to eat since those two matches.
No brain. Right,
I know just
it's
the
like
thing I want you to try.
I've only seen like clips of it, of like really big VTubers playing it, and they're like so happy when they get rare cards. And I guess you do get unlimited chances to pull, because it's not really like a gacha like in Genshin where you have to play. As long as you sell cards, right? You can pull cards as well. Wait, where are we going? Go to the restaurant. 10 exactly. Bless you guys on gacha rolls. You guys also have to suffer like I suffered rolling for Red Horn Treasure. What is Red Horn Treasure? Is that from Blue Archive? Is that the name of a unit in Blue Archive? I have weird luck. Sometimes I'm super lucky, sometimes I'm like down horrendously out of luck. We're gonna eat. It's not. Oh, she has scars on her back.
Fulvia! 2 large platters, please, with 2 bottles of heart pour.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Ito's signature weapon.
I heard
you
she left the
wanted
Bow of
it
Legions.
and you lost.
That's enough,
No, you wanted
you know
it
the
for
rules.
Noel.
No gossip outside the arena.
I'm sorry that happened to you. Sometimes your greatest
dig in.
failures in gacha games
Still
is
got that
gonna
fire,
leave you with
Fulvia?
scars. It's like
You
pain
should
and
talk.
suffering that
Finally
you can't
cut
get
ties
over.
with the Silvers, eh? With the way they handle the share of profits, you should have
It
left
sounds
sooner.
dramatic, but it really hurts when you want something so much and you can't get it.
Well,
and you've been
back
playing
then, a
it every
strong
day
backer
hoping
was
that
exactly
you
what I
get it.
needed.
My luck only
Can't
works
say
in
it was
gacha
all
game.
bad.
That's
So, this is your new
I don't know
partner.
if that's good. Does that mean when you
Looks like you
enter
can handle yourself.
like IRL raffles, you don't win? That's sad. That's sad. But at least you get your gacha units that you want. I was pretty lucky when I used to work. I would go to like events where they have raffles. At one point I have won an iPhone. At one point I have won a watch. At one point I won the latest Samsung tablet. I was pretty lucky back then when it came to IRL raffles. Oh yeah, Summoners War. At least you're lucky in a game that you really love, right? That's good, that's fine. Probably one of the reasons why I stopped playing all your games altogether. It can, is it PTSD? It can be traumatic when you lose the stupid gacha. And it's hard to have like that mental willpower to say that it's fine if I don't get, for example, if I don't get Lupa. I like the game for the story, but you're playing a gacha because you want to get the characters that you want. It's so frustrating. I get it. Took you 9 years to get the 0.35 chance to win. Damn. For what it's worth, at least you got it. It was a long wait, but at least you got it. I did get Ayato recently when he got a rerun. Now I'm all out of gems. Because after Ayato, it was Dahlia. Now I have zero pulls in Genshin. I heard that in 6.0, where we go to Nodcry before Snezhnaya, there's a guy character called Lightkeeper, and I have 0 pulls for him. That's gonna be frustrating. And there has been no leaks at all of what Lightkeeper looks like. But if he's a boy, I'm gonna pull for him. This is your new partner. Looks like you can handle yourself. Assalamualaikum, Arima065. Hello, Arima. Welcome and thank you for the first time.
Do your evil laugh.
Arima065 just followed.
Thank you so much for the follow and the first time chat. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a nice and chill Sunday. Assalamualaikum. This is wait. Assalamualaikum. That's a greeting, right? That's a greeting. Is it Indonesian, Malaysian? Sorry, I forgot. But yeah, Assalamualaikum to you as well. Well, yeah, you can tell just by looking.
Can't keep a tavern running for long if you don't have a good eye. By the way, Heart Pour is sold out today. Guess the celebrity branding really worked.
Alaikum salam, Arima.
What? Oh, come on!
Arima.
What's Heart Pour?
What's Heart Pour indeed? Alaikum salam.
A drink I endorsed. Most of the drinks I promoted were...
Peace upon
but this
you.
one's actually really good.
Nice. Thank you. Peace upon you as well. Alaikum salam. Salam alaikum. Thank you for the translation. I knew it sounded familiar. That's the only word I know in Arab. Is it Arab? Oh. I don't know any Arab words. Yes, it's a Muslim thing. Oh, I should know. There's a lot of Muslims here in the Philippines. I just don't have like Muslim friends. I used to have Muslim friends in high school, but they moved away to America, I think. Yeah, they were really cool. It was a brother and sister. They were siblings. They were the nicest people I know. And the girl, she's like a big sister to me. They were kind of rich, and she was doing this singing school, after school thing. She was enrolled in a singing school, and I couldn't afford it. So she brought me along, and sometimes the teacher would be nice enough to let me join in on the classes. She was really nice and very generous as well. I miss them. I wonder where she is right now. I know she's in America. She has a family now. So our girl Lupa right here, not only is she a great warrior and gladiator, but she's also a star.
If my name's on it, you don't have to worry about quality. It's just that the taste... Well, let's just say it's...
She's so popular, she has a drink named after her. Or like
anyway,
a drink.
I'll get you a taste of Heart Pour later. For now, let's enjoy the meal.
Is Walaikum salam. Walaikum salam. What does that mean?
Any stories to share?
That
there is still much to learn about each other.
As well. Walaikum salam. This is the Heart Stopper. Imagine a drink named after you, and it's called Heart Stopper.
Hey, Lupa, got a message from old Abius.
Hey, hi,
he said the new batch of restored footage just arrived, including those about Contender Mia. Oh, thanks! Oh, I almost forgot with everything going on lately.
Thank you.
Restored footage?
Salam. You guys drink.
Recordings of major matches or famous contenders. Helpful for those who want to learn from them.
Walaikum salam.
F4 Augustas are the most popular. 4 years ago, she became the champion and a household name by crushing every single opponent. From there, she worked her way up into the F4 seat. But I prefer watching Contender Mia's matches over any of the past champions.
Who's Contender Mia?
I think she's
you play Wuthering Waves,
got real
Arima?
heart.
Arima?
You can feel it, even through the recordings. The way she threw herself into every fight.
Do you think we'll face her in this Aegon?
Not likely. She disappeared during a great Aegon years ago.
I've been yabbing too much.
Some say she got tangled up in illegal betting scandals. Others think the pressure from her manager drove her to leave Septimont. There are plenty of rumors, but no one knows what really happened. Still, it's frustrating to just disappear halfway through.
Yes. Yes.
If you fail to make it to the end,
you got her? You got Lupa?
People will
Are you
see
enjoying
you
your Lupa? Is she really strong? Have you built her well? Are you happy that you have her on your team? That's great. You will see Celphy. Okay, okay.
Solace never disappoints.
Okay, only
Their dishes
shadows.
hit the spot
And
every
I got her
time.
weapon at 6 PT. Bro, why
Now
is
that our bellies
everyone
are
in
full,
chat so lucky with
time
their
to
gacha
relax.
pulls recently?
To
For the
Leonidas
first time, you
Hotel.
got an early
It's the
PT,
best place
6
for travelers in
PT for a weapon.
Septimont.
Congratulations on
I've
your
got a
lupa.
long-time rental
I am
there myself.
contemplating on getting her because I have a brand and I don't have a Changli. So, you know, I have Angkor though. I have Angkor. I saw the big gacha gets you there. That's how they get you. They're gonna hook you in, make you really lucky at first, make you feel good about yourself, hook you in with the story and the characters and the emotional. You know, I've been playing for 3 hours. Shut up, game! Shut up! Not just kidding. And they're gonna make you think that you can get whatever you want in this game. And then once you're really hooked, after a few months, after a few years, you can't leave it anymore because you've invested so much time and maybe some money on it. You can't leave it, and you're gonna be like, you're gonna be shaking in your room like a drug addict. You're gonna, I need gacha character.
Time for replacements.
I need money. I will swipe. I must get lupa. I have 5 accounts. 5 accounts in WuWa. What for? Is it because you like the thrill of the gacha? 5 accounts means 5 chances to get any character you want. Is that it? Ah, because you think you're usually not lucky, so if you have 5 accounts, that means 5 times more chances to get characters. So for example, account 1 gets Lupa, account 2 gets Frolova, account 3 gets Galbrena, account 4 gets a rerun of Camellia, so on and so forth. Don't you get tired playing 5 accounts though? I used to play Genshin, 2 accounts. It was very tiring for me, especially because they don't
Welcome to your new spot. It's a lifetime suite, and it's yours anytime you need it during your stay in Septimont.
You know, is it you know? Anyway, Moon Goddess. Oh, that's a nice song. There's a song. I mean, there's vocals in the song. 4 accounts are level 80 and 1 is level 75. You do take breaks when you have to, okay? It's fine. And I think it's easier, I guess, because there's skip button in WuWa. As long as you enjoy fighting, you'll be good. You'll be fine. It won't be as tiring. It's a lifetime suite and it's yours anytime you need it during your stay in the Septimont. Get yourself a friend like Lupa. It's gorgeous. Thank you. How rich is she? How rich is our friend right here?
Don't mention it.
For
the hotel owner sees us as future champions. Supporting us is an investment that will pay off. Of that I am certain. You know, gladiating means everything to me. I really, really love it. I know I'm lucky. I know what I want and I'm doing what I love. Compared to those drifting through life, I've already been given so much.
I think that was the pro as well of having 2 Genshin accounts. I had Wonder in one account, no Wonder in the other account. I had Varesa in one account, no Varesa. I have Skirt in my current account, no Skirt in the other one. You can learn so many playstyles and stare at the gorgeous characters. I understand. You don't look happy, Lupa.
Well, I'm not unhappy.
Sorry for that.
I was born for this.
2 accounts. Yeah, you only play 1 gacha, which is Blue Archive, and I'm guessing you only have 1 account for Blue Archive.
What is it that fills me up when I'm under those lights?
Wait.
My passion for the fight? Or the favor it brings me? If one day I lost that favor, would I be more helpless, panicked, and heartbroken than those who never had it in the first place?
I hope someone can remind
that day
me
comes,
to check the Twitch
I'll still be able to say I love this life.
But that someone is me. I have nobody to remind me. It's such a cute song. Even if you wouldn't, you shouldn't blame yourself for it. You would if you truly love it.
You're right. I hope that love never fades. Not until I'm buried in the veil of glory.
Okay. Okay.
Tomorrow's the semi-finals. We'd best get.
You just agree to remind me. No need to thank you if you do. Ow, my tummy.
Good
My tummy's
night,
rumbling.
my fellow warrior.
What was that glitch? What was that glitch? Spooky! Spooky, ooky pumpkin, optional shadow boy, comes into this neighborhood on Halloween. Did you guys see that? Lupa glitched and she was somebody else for a while. I'm thinking that's like the shadow or the ghost of the legendary warrior named Contender Maya, who was like an epic fighter but disappeared in the height of her popularity. Imposta! Sussy! BRB, okay, take your time. Take your time, Arima. Get some rest. We're sleeping. We're sleeping. You ready? Okay. I'm ready. And even if I'm not ready, I will try again.
Words? Lines of them all around me. And music coming from above.
Amogus, indeed.
This is but an illusion. One of the nights.
Was it for Lova
one of
singing
dreams.
earlier?
Not like the spectacle you saw in the glimmer of the carnival. Here,
okay.
I am not your
Pretty
foe,
song.
nor can we
Pretty
harm
girl.
each other. Should we so wish? Lay your blade to rest, if only for now. 'Tis a pleasure to see you again, on this special stage. A city wild and beautiful, chasing endless glory. Tell me, does Septimont please
My
you as
Lupa
much as
pulls are not
Rigor
real. I did do only a couple of 10 pulls. Do you want me to do more Lupa pulls? 10 2. For you, I will do 2 more pulls. 2 more 10 pulls, so that's 20 pulls. We're gonna gradually pull for Lupa, like, you know, a game of does she want it or does she not want it until I just get it. The same with Lucia. I think I was like, oh, what the heck? Since I'm streaming it and everybody loves Lucia, maybe I should pull for Lucia. And I did not regret getting Lucia because she's like the best support for my Camellia. I'm sorry, yapping. Let's go to the chase. You're connected to Cartesia's disappearance. Has the Frexidus hand already reached Septimont? They have their hands everywhere.
Ah, so it is she you seek. It appears this special resonator has you rather captivated. Let's take our time. I would like our talk to be pleasant.
Are we gonna fight
No
her,
one will
please?
bother us here.
Please? No.
I have an associate who adores the heroic tales told throughout this land. For this reason, the missing girl you
Celphy
seek and the anomaly you sensed in Septimont,
I hope you're having
they
a nice
are indeed
weekend right
threads in this
now.
tapestry. You could call it an obsession of his.
She's talking about Scar. My favorite cute EPT. Wow, thank you. You flatter me. I am cute. And I am EP. Nice, just kidding. Hope you've been well. Not Scar? Not Scar? Cool. Not Scar, but anyone else? The masked guy? You've been well. That's nice to know. That's nice to know. Stop beating around the bush. Tell me what you really came to say.
Every hero's tale begins with a trial.
Yeah, Cristoforo. Oh yeah, Cristoforo is the storyteller. Why did I think of Scar?
Your compassion
Yeah,
and resolve,
Cristoforo.
your hope and madness. Will they be strong enough to carry you through the trial? To make you the hero of the story?
Free book.
Read it. I hope the story speaks to you. The answers you seek lie within these pages. If we continue to meet as foes, the symphony grows monotonous. I confess I find it
She's foreshadowing.
rather uninspired.
She's gonna be your friend. I'm just guessing. When she becomes playable, we're gonna be friends with her. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. I'm sad. The sad. She makes me angry. Why? Wait, what? What is this?
I'll ask again, Frolova. What are you doing here in Septimont? And why give me this?
I am giving this story a little nudge. As of now, you and that blessed maiden from the tower are deeply interwoven in the fate he has spun.
So you're not the only overseer active in Renacida. Scar, your nameless ally, and you. The Fraxidus seems to revel in the company of those with twisted obsessions.
It's not as you imagine. You've already met my associate, you see. He trusts what he sees, not the words of others.
I've already crossed paths with him since arriving in Renacida.
As a creator, he always hopes his characters will craft twists and turns that he himself cannot foresee. He believes that the closer one stands to the protagonist, the greater their influence over the tale. But the true lead of the story has yet to emerge. I gave you this play so you can see the ending. That gladiator girl will be the harbinger of the dark tide in Septimont. All glory will be consumed, and the pride of heroes will dissolve within a blackened maelstrom. Such is the finale she holds most dear. This is a short story, one that only lasts 3 days. When the final match concludes, so too will this story. You could claim the spotlight by ending her life before the curtain falls. Change the ending, and the tragedy is averted.
Wait, and you will see what will happen. Okay.
But should
play
you
a little bit
falter,
more. You can play
or
a little
worse,
bit more.
warn
to
her of
see
what's
how
to
the
come.
story unfolds.
The consequences will
What are
spiral
they
far
planning to
beyond
do with
anything
our
you can
dear
imagine.
partner?
What you're proposing I do. Tell me, what reason do I have to trust a word you're saying, Frolova?
You don't need to trust me. Let my words slip from your thoughts if you wish. As I've already said, the story will unfold as my associate has written it. The choice lies with you. It is a freedom we all hold. Even the wildest imaginations draw from what already exists. So it is with this story. It follows a template, and even its creator cannot escape its confines.
She's tall. I love that she's a tall girl.
Choose wisely, Rover. Time is still on your side. For now, I look forward to your performance in this grand finale.
Let's go. Let's go. Oh, variation of some unknown expert. It feels like you fall into the velvety and oh, it was so fast. What are these? Script? The sword clashes with the gladiator's spear. Yeah, this happened already. In fact, we are partners. Cartiga steps in front of the incubator. salty, yucky hint of seawater drips in the thin, still air. She can still go. Slides through the blue incubator in the darkness. I think we did this as well in the beginning of the quest, right? Or is it? Is there someone in the middle? But I do remember running around with Cartesia to unlock something or claim something in the beginning. Ugh, this is so scary. It looks like she's gonna die or is dead. Lupa is swallowed by the tide's relentless churn, implying death. Leave the hotel room. Is there anything we can do in this room? Traveler's Guide to Septimont. What's a daily scope? Oh, today's news. Okay. Let's leave the hotel room. Lupa! I'm so glad you're alive.
Morning, fellow warrior. Huh. You don't exactly look well rested.
You wouldn't believe the dream that I had.
Filova may not have told the whole truth, but there's no denying the anomaly here in Septimont. And neither Lupa and that fleeting image. Lupa turning into that unfamiliar girl. I'm fine. Just a bad dream. Let's get going. Our next stop is the Coliseum Olympus, right?
You got it.
Let's visit the Coliseum and then we'll call it a day. Enter by taking the elevator, I guess.
But I doubt that medicine was one blow.
Rejoice, for your star is here. Lupa. Are we fighting? Or is she just like appearing? We are fighting. Losers.
As expected, the Silvers chose to face us in the semifinals. The news spreads quickly.
You knew this was coming.
Hey, Celphy, how it's going? Fairy! Hi, Fairy!
To them,
Hi,
it's a
Waffle
provocation,
Fairy. How
and
you
to forfeit
doing?
would be a disgrace.
Happy Sunday. What is that one? Your
Domino
clip
Julia must be
there.
here.
Thank you for making clips of
She
me.
wouldn't miss a moment like this.
Hello, Fairy. Hi.
She's shrewd
Doing
and
well.
exceptionally capable,
But actually, I think we're
arrogant
gonna
to the
end
core.
stream in a bit
She's
after we do
convinced
this
she's
fight.
always
After we
right.
do this fight. Because I'm kinda hungry.
She doesn't believe in talking things through. Thinks it's
And
for the
the
weak.
game told me that
So
I've been
we'll
playing
show
for
her
3
we
hours.
don't need rigged matches to win. We'll win with pure strength.
Exactly! We don't need no rigs, we don't need no luck, we will win with pure strength and power. Augusta! Didn't even notice the time. Yeah, it's 6 o'clock. It's dinner time! Mikan, what are you having for dinner? What are you having for dinner, Chef Mikan? Oh, okay, I just woke up. Good morning, Fairy. Good morning, Pineapple. Go get your breakfast, go get your coffee, go get your drink.
Have passed, and I stand before you once more.
Look at her,
Not
majestic.
as a gladiator, but as a witness to the
I'm not cooking,
start
but I smell
of
fried
this
chicken.
grand
Yum,
event.
yum, 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 yum. I have
You all
sinigang.
know well
I have
that
pork and
gladiatorial
shrimp
combat
sinigang waiting for
is
me
the
downstairs.
lifeblood of our ancient and mighty city.
Ahoy ka. Wrong game, yeah.
Seize power.
This is
and
Augusta,
fight for victory.
the leader of Septimont. And she looks like Mabuika. Hi WuWa, how's your game? How's your TCG? Those crowns look pointy. Yeah, imagine getting pierced by one of the thingies from her crown. Shemexy.
Remember,
yeah, Shemexy.
those who cling to glory without the strength to defend it will see it slip.
Even her voice
through
is
their
awesome. It's majestic. It's grand.
Warriors.
Oh, her tacit mark is in her hand. I'm going for. I'm the one buying my own. It's like having a restaurant and eating your own food. You have a card shop and you buy your own cards.
To the rise of new heroes.
What happens if that happens? Oh yeah, you're gonna be poor. Oh no, wow. Wow, get more money. Get more money.
Begin.
It's the Aegon time. Wait, that's awesome. Yeah, it is awesome. Hey, are you lying down? Oh no, you're playing something probably. Look at that. It's a fusion of
Come, my fellow warrior.
modern
Victory is
technology
ours for the
and
taking.
like ancient Colosseum fighting arena thingy. Sales number goes up, money goes down. Yeah, make it make sense. But if it's WoW, it probably makes sense. Please, yeah, please. It was pretty. I like it. I like the design of this whole Colosseum arena place. Wuthering waves. Can't believe you're free. Start the fight. Wait. Are we gonna play as? Yeah, I think we're gonna play as Arrow Rover again. Couldn't be more ready.
I see.
No, I don't need a moment. Stinky customers. Oh no. Mag-face mask ka. Wear face mask and spray them with air freshener. Couldn't be more ready.
Happy hunting, gladiators.
Happy hunting. Get hunted, stupid losers. Bow before me and Lupa. Scented candles. Yeah, scented candles.
Let's settle this, Emilio. Fair and square. Waves rise. Judgment strikes. Tempest of slashes.
I'm sorry for the drop frames.
Hunting party.
Come in.
Wind rises.
Hopefully this helps.
Annihilation.
Where is the enemy? Where is the enemy? I can't see.
The wicked.
Defeat them all. Thank you, WuWa. I feel empowered. We will get there. We will defeat the wicked. They will face judgment. Oh, what happened? We're not done yet. I realized how hard this game runs when I tried it on ROG Ally. What is ROG Ally? Is that a device?
This frequency.
Is that a mobile device? Or a kind of laptop? Kind of CPU?
Thanks, my fellow warrior. Can't win, so you play dirty in the arena, huh? You make me sick!
A handheld console PC? Is that a thing? I've never heard of such a thing. OBS just warned me. Encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings or using a faster encoding preset. Sucks to be me! Sucks to be poor! It's like a Steam Deck. Now I kinda can, yeah, Steam Deck I have heard. Like a handheld console. Yeah. I get it now. You have an ROG ally. Was
Esteemed
it?
F4,
Did it
I
run
must bring
smoothly
a
at
grave
least?
matter to your attention. In this
If you
very
turn down
match,
like the graphics
the
or
Silvers
something?
stooped to underhanded tactics.
I like how OBS
Speak
is warning me
plainly,
now.
Gladiator.
Did it always have that?
This
It runs
spear,
around at 45
it was a gift
FPS.
from Domina Julia, head of House Silver,
be a
when
little
I first joined the
frustrating.
family.
Must play at a minimum
Back
of
then,
60.
I trusted the Silvers completely, never once doubting their intentions.
But if it's smaller screen, it shouldn't be
Until I
that
chose to
noticeable,
leave
right?
them
Unless you have like
not
a
long
really
ago.
discerning, picky
Now in
eye
today's
for
arena,
game graphics.
this
I think you
spear
are.
spiraled
since,
out
you
of
know, you're a
control,
computer
nearly
pro and a
stabbing
gaming
my
pro.
own teammate.
It is taxing. It is taxing. I used to have an iPhone
Of course.
12.
And
It could
your
not
proof?
run WuWa.
Honorable
Like even for
effort.
a couple
I
of minutes,
guarantee
it
this
would
spear will
crash,
withstand
get
any
hot, and then
scrutiny.
really crash. And then I had an iPhone 13 mini.
Looper,
It could run,
you
but
owe
after
your
like
fame and
5 minutes,
fortune
it
to
would
our
get
patronage.
very
You
hot.
turned your back on us when we needed you the
Screen
most.
small, but resolution is still an
Allow me to
80p.
remind
Yo.
everyone, House Silver does not cower, nor fear defeat. In past Aegons, we have constantly led in victories. Even if we lose today, we will not be expelled from Septimont.
Julia. It is more
So tell me,
optimized for Android phones.
Who
WuWa
is
is more
truly
optimized for
desperate to destroy
Android
who?
phones? Question mark?
A lone gladiator cut off from her family.
Yeah. Is it because of the engine
Or a house
they use
as
or
powerful as
something?
mine. Do your evil laugh.
Hag_enjoy_ just followed.
I don't know if I should be flattered, but thank you, Hag Enjoyer, for the follow. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I may be a hag, but I'm a cute hag. Yeah, welcome. Thank you for the follow. I get
Stop your
perfect 60
performance,
FPS on my
Jester.
phone. On PC, it doesn't run that well.
What?
It's so weird. I don't know the mechanics of it. How come some phones are more powerful than some PCs? I don't know. It's Moon Goddess! Yes, that name. Thank you for being a hag. You're welcome. Want to enjoy more hag time? Just visit the Celphy stream. Just kidding. Thank you for the first time chat. Welcome again. Welcome. And thank you for dropping a follow. Hags unite. Hags are justice. Hags are life. We support hags in this house. You know, I have to say I have no clue what's happening in this game though. I'm like, whoa, pink hair pretty. That's fine. But you don't need to know much, right? Just enjoy the beautiful characters on screen, the beautiful architecture, the wonderful graphics. Can't believe this is free. Moon Goddess is so sassy. Yeah, I like her. I really kind of want her. I think she's gonna... They say she's gonna be good for one of my DPSs. So, you know, when she comes, we're gonna pull for her. Definitely. Like all of their hair. I love that the hair is like furiously hot pink. Like it's not a weak baby pink. It's as fiery as her personality. Christmas cakes. Hag maxing, exactly. In this house, we're not trying to be cool and young and hip. We are trying to hag max. Hag max. Who is she? That was quite the entrance. Who is she indeed?
That's Yuno, the priestess of Septimont.
Yuno.
She rarely leaves the temple and only shows up accompanying F4 Augusta.
Oh.
The heroic
She's
spirits
like
of the
Yai
moon and
Miko
stars have long
to
seen
ride
through
in.
it. These hollow lies taint
They said I want her, and for some reason I thought it was gonna be a follow-up. I'm wondering what it was. I just want her because she's gonna be a great support for one of my male DPS characters.
That can't be right. It's typical, isn't it?
Augusta,
VS keeps
banish
warning
the
me.
Silvers
I think
from
we're gonna end
Septimont.
stream after this cutscene. Yeah.
The priestess can foretell fate and has the power to make final calls here.
You know,
Most people trust her judgment.
I've learned recently that in Gacha they have this sneaky things.
You know, is a bit
where
extreme in our
you
line
have
of
to pull
priestesses. Not
for your
everyone agrees with
DPS
her
to work. You
behavior.
have to pull for other
despite her
characters
capabilities.
for your DPS to work better. It's annoying, but I guess you gotta respect. They gotta earn their money. Madame. Now, Shadows, this is mommy. Augusta is a definition of mommy. I mean, it makes sense. It used to not make sense for me before. I used to think that if I have this character and he's strong, I don't need anybody else. But team comp-wise, I guess I need them. If you can afford to get their best in slot support, then you get your best in slot support. Even if you don't like them as much as your DPS. Pure DPS with no support is like not good in a lot of games.
You know the weight of your actions.
Sorry for being so whiny. Yeah, we're just gonna finish this cutscene, this dialogue, and then we're out. She does look like Mavuika so much, right? Very much like Mavuika.
I know
like
your
Greek,
family once stood as the
Greek
cornerstone
or Roman
of this
Mavuika.
city. Its pioneers,
with the red hair and
its
the yellow
founders,
tips,
its
and her
protectors.
fierce words.
For centuries, the Silvers
It's
fought
either all
bravely
damage or no
in the
damage
hunting
at all.
grounds.
Yeah. There's my
Defending
problem. You guys know
Septimont from
Facial from
tacit
Star Rail? I
disgrace.
pulled Facial because I like her.
Today,
but I cannot bring
you
myself to
dishonor
pull
their
for Robin.
legacy.
No offense to Robin
Do
like
not
this.
disgrace
I don't
them
like
further,
Robin.
Julia.
Anyways, I heard mommy when I was typing and I was like,
Leave
where? Yeah,
Septimont.
this is mommy.
Do not
This is
ever
mommy.
return.
For me, she is a definition of a mommy. A mature woman, strong,
As you
independent
command,
woman. Mavuika,
F4.
but voice. Sofia Vergara! Oh my god, she does sound like Sofia Vergara with the accent. Yeah! You guys watch Modern Family? I love Modern Family. Bro, I forgot you were stream. Misha! Sorry, I almost didn't see you. Welcome. Good afternoon,
performance
Misha,
just
my
now.
baby.
That
You were
wasn't a
reading
complete
a
disaster.
romance manga?
At least you
It's
show
nice,
more
that's
promise
fine.
than those idiots
We'll see each
retreating to
other
cling
in
to their
stream
meager
again.
points.
Sadly, we will be ending in a while. This message has been redacted for legal reasons. Oh no, right? You got auto censored, auto moderated. It's fine. I feel it in my heart what you wanted to say, and I agree. She could do anything she wants, baby. I love Sofia Vergara. She's funny and smart at the same time. Yeah! I especially love her during her interviews, and I really love her show Modern Family. I got auto-modded. Damn auto-mod. Can't believe you would do that to my dear friend Rat. This is a safe space. You can voice your concerns and opinions, no matter how questionable they may be. I was reading Dealing with the Mikadono sisters. It's a really... I want to watch episode Malcolm in the Middle. I think I've heard of that. But yeah, you can do Modern Family some other times. Like really funny. Another show I wanna watch is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I watched like a couple episodes. I wasn't really into it, but I think I wanna watch it again. Something like that. As long as you're enjoying your romance manga on this nice set Sunday, Misha, that's fine. I like her because Hag. Who is the Hag? Augusta? Hag Enjoyer? What do I call you? Enjoyer? Hag Enjoyer? For real, that's a dangerous permission to give me. You sound so wholesome though, Rat. You sound so wholesome. I doubt you'll be saying something that's like gonna make us be banned from Twitch. Bryan Cranston. That's the Breaking Bad guy. Jump scared me. Sorry. Call me? Celphy? Call you what? Call you Celphy? Is it a call me by your name thingy? That's
An
your
outlander.
name? Okay. Celphy.
Fight well, both of you.
You should be Celphy too, because I'm Celphy 1. Celphy. I read 140 chapters in a span of 10 hours. That's a well-read boy right there. A well-read boy. Very productive use of your time. As long as you enjoy it, that's good. It's good. Insert subscribe to Celphy. I love it. I have my own promoter right here. Thank you, Tenchu. You my man. You my man. I know you got me. My eyes hurt. Okay, I can hear again. Yippee, yippee! My eyes hurt? Go rest your eyes. Go rest your eyes. Go close your eyes. I don't know if this is true. I saw something on Twitter saying that you have to rest your brain sometimes. Like, you know how we're like chronically online, always on our phones. If we're not on our phones, we're on our tablet, or we're watching something, or we're on our PC. We need to give our brain some rest sometimes. That's what it said. So, if you guys have a chance to do that, you should. Got you, Fambo. Show full streams. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you, my man. Basically, me 24/7. Yeah, you gotta get you're young right now, but maybe when you get older, your brain will get tired. Your eyes hurt right now, but I'm betting your brain is still very active.
Do not disappoint me or Augusta in tomorrow's final.
I will not. We will not. You can count on us. We are the dream team right here. Pinky and Blackie. Pinky and Blackie. It sounds like a...
It seems there's still
like
some time before the other semi-final concludes. Let's head to the lounge for a break.
Actively tired. That's the secret. I'm always tired. I guess that's it for now, chat. I'm sorry. My OBS keeps warning me that my encoder is overloaded. That concludes our stream for today. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye. Not just kidding. Why did I minimize it? Just chatting. Bye. It is the end of the stream for you. Bye, Red. Red. I almost spoke it Tagalog. I was gonna say, matatapos na yung stream ko, hindi ka pa rin tulog. Which translates to, I'm already about to stream and you still haven't slept. Go sleep. Those who have to sleep, please go sleep. Red, thank you for being here. I enjoy it though, even though, you know, you're a bit sleepless. Yeah, we'll talk. Schedule that we'll have finalized the games we wanna play. Good work for today. Happy now. You too, we can enjoy your fried chicken. Fried chicken. I will soon, yeah. Because it's very late. Very late. You need to rest your pretty little head so you can work on more projects tomorrow. Can you do another 34 hours? Definitely. But I will not be on. Just kidding. I'll stream again soon, hopefully. Hag Enjoyer, it was funny to see you. Follow me. Thank you. Oh yeah, you're not Hag Enjoyer. You're Celphy 2. I'm Celphy 1, you're Celphy 2. We're both selfies. And we both enjoy hags. It's 10:30 PM. It's okay. Oh, it's not that late yet. It becomes extremely late for you when I stream at my night time. Misha, I'm so glad I managed to see. I'm glad to see you too, Misha. Yeah, it's really nice that I can catch you during the weekend, cause yeah, you don't have class. You don't have class. If this was a weekday, you would still have class until 4:30, right? It's not too late. Also, yes, we will organize. We will talk offline about this. Thank you for stream. Wow. Thank you, wow. Thank you, wow. Where's my hype homie? Thank you for being here. Thank you, Mikan. Thank you, everyone. Red. I'm not gonna try and mention everyone, but I really appreciate you guys lurking and chatting and keeping me company and listening through my, you know, whatever I say, Boomer. Okay, Boomer, donkey for the stream. Donkey as well. The biggest donkey. My brain is burning right now. It's okay. That's my brain all the time. Touch you. I forgot that word. It's okay. Hey, wow. See you guys next time. Thank you again for being here. I love you all so much. Take care of yourselves. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of your night, afternoon, or day. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye. Chorizo!